Hello, welcome. Hi everybody, how we doing? I believe we are even live with picture in picture. It's great. See? Yay, I can do fancy stuff. Hello everybody, your friendly neighborhood Prax. Welcome to the channel. Tonight is, no, not tonight. Today is daytime. Well, time. It's an amorphous thing that is a social construct. It doesn't matter. Mom is standing off screen laughing at me. So I should introduce my mother, because this is my mother. She's fabulous, as you can see. She is wonderful. Everything that is great in my life comes from her. I can say this. But I decided we should have some fun today. And so we're going to make dinner. Mom, you can talk.
I know, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for my cue. Thank you.
You're waiting. I'm not going to say the first thing that came to my mouth.
Which is, when did I ever? Yes, I know. I was wondering if I had a name besides just Mom.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted your name on the internet to be. I don't make those assumptions for people. I was going to let you introduce yourself.
I'm Rose, Mama Rose.
There we go.
Not from Gypsy, by the way.
No. And we would totally do a number from that show, but DMCA.
And besides, I only carry a tune well in a crowd.
It's okay, Mommy. We appreciate you. I'm going to let the dog back in so that she is here. But, so, your friendly neighborhood Prax, Mama Rose, life is good. Life is coming up roses. Look, you knew I had to say it at least once.
Yep.
Maybe more. But we're going to do a cooking stream, and we got fancy, and I have like a picture-in-picture. It's also happy about this. I'm very happy about this. Today, we're going to make, Mama, what are we going to make?
We're going to make La Mata family lasagna.
See.
Wait one, dog has to get her carrot.
Yes, because the dog is important here. I guess we should introduce, we could introduce the dog. Hey, Bella. Bella. No, she's got her carrot.
My carrot.
But it's okay, you can still see her on the camera. That's Bella. She's an old lady.
She's going to be 15 in December. She's a diva.
Yes, she's a queen, it's fine. But we're going to make lasagna. Our family recipe for lasagna. I'm going to preface this with a statement, Internet. This is my statement to the Internet. Do not at me for not making a meat lasagna.
No.
Our family are poor Sicilians. Let me peek up this way.
I'm right here.
And did not put meat in the lasagna.
The other thing is it changes the texture and the density. Lasagna with just a light cheese filling, which our family called the bechamel, is much lighter and doesn't sit in your stomach like lead, like Italian American lasagna.
Yeah, nobody wants so. Also, we should specify that the bechamel that we're making is not French bechamel sauce that you would...
Right.
It is not in any way, shape, or form. We called it that, but it wasn't the same. It's not the same thing.
It's the same word in Sicilian, but it basically means the cheese mixture.
That everything is going. All right, so we should get this party started.
All you, kid.
All me? Oh, okay.
You're in charge.
I'm in charge. Well, I'm going to get an apron, a mappin, so that I don't get...
No. Fandale.
We have the mappin right here.
This is a mappin.
This will be another instance of how many languages will Mama and Prax end up speaking in this conversation.
Right.
And if we use words you don't know, stop us, because we will define them.
Yes. And there are some words we just don't know in English.
Yeah. We'll gesture and point to the thing. That happens frequently, actually. All right. Fandale. Mama, you want?
Yes, please.
Mommy gets the pretty one.
Thanks.
Or did you want the red one?
I don't care.
Mommy get the pretty one. Okay, never mind. Mom wants red. Mom's favorite color.
Red's going to clash with your green. You're going to look like Christmas.
Okay, well, there we go. And it's not Christmas
yet.
We
need some attention to detail on the visuals here.
Okay, well. Hello, Hawkeye. Welcome in. She's in charge of Mama's kitchen. Yeah, exactly. I am not in charge of my mother's kitchen. I am occasionally, very, very, very occasionally directing, but not in charge.
If she wants to be in charge, I leave the room. Nothing personal.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that she can do it her way, not mine.
Hi. Well, Hawkeye, welcome in. So we're gonna get this started. We're gonna have fun. It'll be a great day. But we should begin with
Prep the pan.
prep the pan, and then prep the pan, then the filling, then the pasta. We'll get to our explanation for the pasta. And layering everything. We will acknowledge, hello, Ice Bunny, welcome in. Exactly. Moms are always right. See? Even the internet agrees with you, Mama.
Of course.
We will acknowledge that we did one thing in advance. We did make the sauce for the lasagna in advance.
Right.
As I get explained.
Right. Making spaghetti sauce is really easy, so anybody who buys the stuff out of a jar, that's not necessary. There's also an awful lot of additional ingredients you don't need. We did use tomatoes in a jar because anything in glass tastes better than stuff in a can, but it's all that's in the jar is plain tomato puree.
If you can get the imported from Italy, passata, P-A-S-S-A-T-A. I was trying to remember if there were two T's or one.
Just one.
Just one. You can get imported passata, that's even better. It just tastes better.
Right. And then you can add your own seasonings. We like basil, oregano, and garlic to taste. Some commercial, but...
No. I was just, if we're making sauce for dinner, we would add a little bit of crushed red pepper, but not for the lasagna.
Nope. And of course, some red wine.
Which you can or cannot use based on your personal preferences, but it makes it better.
And if we're making it for dinner, we add some tomato paste, and you know the sauce is ready when the spoon stands up, if you like it that thick.
I will post pictures of how that actually looks. We did not go that thick.
But you don't want it that thick for the lasagna. It has to be a much more spreadable consistency.
All right.
The other thing is, when we're talking about seasonings to taste, sometimes tomatoes can be acidic, so you might want to put just a smidge, like half a teaspoon of cinnamon to cut the acidity. That's what my great uncle used to do. Commercial sauces put
Sugar.
corn syrup or sugar, which is not necessary,
Tomatoes are sweet enough.
usually.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, Bunny. What did you want to ask about the passata? Just in general, what the existence of passata? Passata is great. Passata is, I mean, we took it outside.
That's okay. Passata just means that somebody put the tomatoes through a food mill.
Yeah.
And you'll see that the word passata, you may or may not see the word passata on.
Sorry about the noise from the parchment paper. Mama here, has these beautiful, hashtag not sponsored,
brand new lasagna pans. I do mean brand new, right out of the box, never used. Only because I went shopping.
Yes, you went shopping
And
at the outlet. There's no shame in shopping at the outlet.
I went shopping at the outlet, and they were on sale from the outlet price. So, had to have them, because they're red. That's my color.
And we're lining the lasagna pans, because they're brand new, with a little parchment paper, which is not going to cause a problem. Also, the nice thing about the parchment paper is it's going to protect from when you go and you cut the lasagna with the knife, because the biggest thing that people do is you leave it in this pan and then you cut it with a knife, and then you scratch your pan.
Right. So the other thing about pans, you can use disposable pans. You can use this kind of heavy ceramic Le Creuset pan. I've used glass Pyrex pans. Whatever works. And you can make them in assorted sizes. whatever, again, if you're making them for Sunday dinner, obviously you want a big one. If you're making them for 1 or 2 people, you just divide them into smaller portions and then you freeze them and cook them whenever.
And I used to do that when I lived in Atlanta. I was living by myself because making lasagna is not it's not a fast thing, and it's not a weeknight dinner thing, unless you've pre-made it and you're just heating it up.
Right.
But otherwise, I would take a day when I was living in Atlanta by myself and make lasagna.
Right.
And if I had a couple other people around, I would even make the pasta.
Right.
Which we're not doing today because we have a nice friend down the street at the corner store that makes fresh pasta.
Right. Right. What the family used to do is start with 5 pounds of semolina flour and make dough and make lasagnas, and then stick them in the freezer, and we would end up with about 10 trays of 9 by 13.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would do these at home when I was living in Atlanta by myself, and I would do them in mini loaf pans, which was just about perfect for one person. Because then I would freeze them multiples, but that was like a whole day thing. This is easier. So we've got the lasagna pans with the parchment paper in it. You'll notice that I did not spray the pan because there will be enough weight from everything we put from the lasagna in there.
Or we might just actually cut it neatly. But anyway.
Have at it.
Actually, the reason not, first of all, lasagna, you don't need to spray the pan.
Yeah.
That's not necessary.
I meant to spray for the parchment paper into the pan.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so we're starting here with step 1, which is mix the filling.
And we're going to explain why my filling for me is different than the filling we're going to make for my sister's lasagna. Because we're making 2 trays. 2 technically different trays.
The other thing as we mix the filling we want to let you know is if you do choose to make lasagna with meat, to make sure you cook the meat first and drain it really, really, really well. Otherwise, the grease drips and kind of ruins the flavor to me. We do have vegetarian relatives who make it with, layer it with zucchini and eggplant. It's to your taste. But that's not traditional lasagna as you would find it in Italy.
No, that's what you get in the United States because you want to add extra vegetables to hide the vegetables from your kids. That's why people did that. But as you can see,
or it makes it a more
hello,
substantial.
Trig, welcome in. Thank you for this subscription. I appreciate it.
Okay, go.
No, it's fine. So, fun. Okay, I'm gonna try and do a thing now. Watch me do a thing, people. Ha! We has a bowl. You can even mostly see into the bowl. Can I angle? Okay, so you can see that, right, guys? That works. All right, we'll work with that. Now, traditionally, we would use.
Put this frosting.
Is it boiling? Oh, okay. We're also, we have a bowl cam. Exactly. There is a bowl cam. That actually makes my nails look really nice. So I said we're making 2 trays. Tray number 1 is based on my allergies. Tray number 2 is based on my sister's allergies. Both my sister and I have food allergies. Unfortunately, for my mother, they're not 100% compatible. Food allergies.
Why would life be easy?
They're not easy. So I have an allergy, and I've talked about this before, is like I have an allergy to cow's milk. So I can't do cow's milk cheeses. And the problem with that comes traditionally as my mom adds salt to the water to boil the pasta, because the rule is if it doesn't taste like the Atlantic Ocean, there isn't enough salt in the pasta water. Right, Mama?
Right. And you don't add the water, you don't add the salt to the water till it's absolutely boiling, mostly because salt water boils at a higher temperature and takes a lot longer.
Exactly. And don't add oil to your pasta. It's just going to pasta water. It's just going to float on top and not do anything except look weird and not helpful.
Yeah. My Sicilian nonna never added olive oil to her pasta water, so the only thing she ever added was salt.
And Nonna knows best. So I have an allergy to cow's milk cheeses, and my sister has celiac, so she has to be gluten-free. So you cannot get gluten-free lasagna sheets. May I borrow a lasagna sheet? Just a single one.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to, moving the bowl, you can see this is a traditional lasagna sheet that you get in the store, in a box, normal dried. You stick them in the pot. You do not take the time to, don't touch them, don't break them, just stick them in, they'll slowly melt, it'll be fine. There are these things called oven-ready lasagna that you can get. They're dried sheets, Barilla makes them, Ronzoni makes them, everybody makes them. The problem with that is they all need more liquid in the filling to cook in the oven. Which means you need a thinner sauce, a more liquidy sauce. And I have never had success with those, Mom. Have you?
I've never tried them.
Okay. Mom's never tried them. I've never had success with them. I've only used fresh pasta or done like this, which basically is you boil the lasagna sheets first and then you layer everything and you're good to go. But so because my sister has to be gluten-free, we're going to have a tray of gluten-free lasagna with traditional ricotta, and then I'm going to use a modified goat's milk cheese, which is not quite ricotta, but it has a similar texture. If we were in Sicily, or, I had somebody with a lot of money, we could get sheep's milk ricotta. But that's really hard to get in this country, apparently.
Well, it's hard to get in Stamford, Connecticut. We did have, Fairway used to carry it. Fairway's a New York City store.
Yeah, but even then, I went looking the last time I was in New York for an option. Oh yes, the spoonola has come back out. You see our friend the spoonola. Yeah.
Oh, and show them how well it comes apart clean.
Oh yes.
This is the other reason to buy this.
Yes, it came as a set of 3, and it comes out into 2 separate pieces like this. You can see it looks a little dated because it's a little old, but it cleans really well. Ice Bunny, you can get... I'm going to massacre this. You know that I have a problem with this language. Schalford?
Yeah, Schaefer.
Yeah. You can get that brand. Ice Bunny is in Denmark?
Yeah.
And, yeah, so you can get that brand. It is not, according to some people, that is not their preferred lasagna, preferred pasta. I buy whatever they get. Oh, yeah, I said it right.
That brand is just starting to make inroads in the U.S. They do make good bread. So, it's... The other thing about gluten-free stuff is, I'm sure you know, it's trial and error. And it, like everything else, do you personally like the taste and the texture more than anything else?
You'll notice I'm opening a bunch of these little containers because you need about, 3 pounds of filling, roughly, for a tray of lasagna.
And leftover filling is never bad.
No, leftover filling is never bad because you can take that same leftover filling and mix it with regular pasta and make baked ziti. You could just eat it.
Or you could just make cooked pasta and
throw that in and have it be a filling. May I hand you?
Certainly.
So I can get them out of the way. But this is... So the big thing about... Would I love to be able to get fresh sheep's milk ricotta? Yes. Do I recognize that in the United States that becomes can become prohibitively expensive, even if it's available? Yes. Because none of all of the sheep's milk ricottas are imported, right? At least I've never found one domestic.
There might be some, but again, you have to be in the right place.
Yeah. So we're going to make one with the goat cheese mixture.
By the way, the secret to making sure your pasta doesn't stick to the pan is not olive oil. It's paying attention to it and stirring regularly.
See? Yeah, don't. You can see. And also, put a wooden spoon. Oh, hold on. Put a wooden spoon across the top.
Not there. There you go.
Put a wooden spoon across the top to prevent it from boiling over. Yes, as I play with multicams, it's fun. Okay. So, we got this going in. And Mom, you're going to want to slide this way so we can see a little bit more of your smiling, charming face because you are wonderful. But, you know, it takes a minute. I'm sorry, guys. It's not a fast process because you got to do multiple. But at least it comes out relatively cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, this is a little bit longer because you can't buy just the giant. I know the Danes go to Germany to stock up on gluten-free foods because they're cheaper in the south. In Germany being south of Denmark. All right, took me a second there.
Yeah. Italy also surprisingly is really attentive to people with celiac and gluten issues. Probably because we all live on pasta. Mm-hmm. So that's probably another place where if you're in Italy, you probably would do well.
Yes, and we operate, shockingly, for my father, we operate on the use and then slide everything into the sink and then clean everything at a certain other point and not, stop every 5 minutes to clean everything.
Well, I'm also not doing that today because I don't want the loud noise of the water.
Yeah, who does that? It's fine. All right. So we've got step 1. We've got cheese 1. But lasagna is not a single cheese dish. Lasagna is a multi-cheese dish, particularly the way we make it. This, hashtag not sponsored, this is the best thing that is a replacement for those of us who can't have cow's milk for mozzarella in the United States. It is a farmer's cheese. It is a Sicilian farmer's cheese. It has the exact same consistency as mozzarella. The grated kind, not the fresh kind. The fresh mozzarella is an entirely different subject and matter and whatever. We're not talking about that. We're not going to have that for dinner tonight. But table cheese, farmer's cheese, it melts the same as shredded mozzarella that you would use for like pizza or pasta. It's just made with sheep's milk. And you can see, I'm actually going to slide this over here for a second. You can actually see how it's made in the basket, and it imprints all of the weaving of the basket on it. Gives it a nice texture. So, as I grab a cutting board, because this is a big old wheel of cheese. This is 2 pounds of cheese. It's here. Buffalo is technically a kind of cow. For buffalo that you get in Europe and what is called mozzarella di bufala, buffalo milk cheeses is similar to domesticated cows. Bison, which is an entirely different species that is only indigenous to the North American continent, is not a buffalo. Those are 2 different things. They are, genetically speaking. But they are still have my problem with the allergy, so it's not.
Well, they also eat a lot of grass, and the way they process
which is the problem. All right, so here's the thing. We theoretically, hi Bella, you want to talk to the internet?
It's okay, baby girl.
You're okay. We could theoretically
Slice?
Grate this giant wheel, this not insubstantial wheel of cheese by hand. I have done so.
Using
that
handy dandy box grater.
But
why?
When you need to do a lot of it, there's no reason to. That's why.
There's a reason
why this thing was invented. This is Mother's older than I am.
Food processor.
Food processor. But yes, exactly. It's not a huge wheel of cheese. But it's also not an insubstantial size wheel of cheese. But you do want to cut it into pieces to start with.
It'll go through the thing easier if you do it that way.
Yeah, that's
instead of quarters.
You want it to make it easier to go through the food processor. And now I will admit that my life has been made much easier now that I live here again and not in Atlanta, because Atlanta did barbecue really well. It had a really great Korean population, that Korean bakery we went into.
Oh my God, yes.
Great. The tofu house was divine. Tofu house, great. It didn't really have an Italian population. Mom came to visit once, and Kroger was having the Italian sale. Oh no, Publix, not Kroger. What was on the Italian sale, Mama?
Kraft Italian dressing.
Kraft Italian dressing. These are also the people that seem to think you put whipped cream in a cannoli.
Okay. You ready for me to start making noise?
Yes, you can start making noise. It's fine.
So we're telling them the story about the food process.
Well, you have to tell that story. That's a you story.
So, my dear departed mother-in-law, God rest her soul, could not cook to save her life. Well, I take that back. She did some basic things very well. Baked ham, baked turkey, whatever. And they used to, they had a freezer, and you used to be able to contract with a company to buy frozen foods that were delivered every 6 months, every 3 months, you know, buy a side of beef cut up into different things and have it in your freezer. Worked really well because my in-laws at the time were helping my sister-in-law with 4 small kids, so, you know, you're feeding growing children all the time. And when you bought the subscription, they occasionally had gifts for you. One of them, my mother-in-law, was one of the first people to have a microwave in the 1970s. They also gave her this Waring high-speed commercial-grade blender.
Food processor.
Food processor. This food processor is from the 1970s, maybe the 1980 at the latest.
Yeah, I think that's
It's a real workhorse. It's stood up. It's been moved all over the country multiple times, and works better than newer ones, and as I said, it certainly lasted a lot longer. So, Dee, if you would take,
I'm about to do that.
Drain that while I keep shredding for you.
Yes, here it is. Going back to my things that Bed Bath & Beyond, hashtag not sponsored, has given up, I found. These are the pot holders that go on the outside, like that. And they also work really well with pot lids. Mom, can you turn the cold water on? Sorry, I forgot that. Also, remember, cold water in the sink as you drain pasta. Because well, crap. Well, I need you to move the grate. So what fell, by the way, everyone, is was the liner to the sink. And
Go ahead.
I didn't want to, I needed, okay, I can't see.
You will, it's too high. Pick that up.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I meant that I can't see because my glasses.
I know, well, both of us. And by the way, again, hashtag not sponsored, Fog Defender works really well.
Oh, that actually came out really nice.
Perfect. Okay, we can leave that. Just throw a little cold water on the drain. Thank you. Another bowl for the
Yeah. So yeah, throw a little cold water on your lasagna sheets right away so they don't start sticking to each other. Yeah, exactly, Ice Bunny. Do not replace what works. Made even funnier, Mom,
Yes, darling.
by when my mother's mother, correct?
Yeah, what?
When you got the second set
Of?
blades and food processor from Grandma Elsie when you were cleaning out her house.
Well, when I was getting married, one of the things I got as a wedding present was an Oster kitchen center, which was really great. Don't make them anymore because the manufacturers didn't make enough money. But it was a power base that you could use as a stand mixer, food processor, and blender all in one.
And it made crushed ice.
And it made crushed ice. It had an attachment for crushed ice. Unfortunately, as the base died, you know, I still had these blades, but the blades didn't fit anything else, so, oh well.
Yeah.
It's all right, Bella. It's all right.
It's okay.
Bella wants to be part of the plan.
Oh, wait, there's cheese.
There's cheese. Here.
Sorry. There's cheese. That's the other important thing about grating. However, there is one very important thing about grating cheese in a food processor. So sauna before supper? I mean, yeah. One important thing, however, using a food processor to grate your cheese rather than doing it by hand, the action of the food processor will make it hotter and warmer because of just the speed of the blades, right? It's going to heat everything up. So you want the cheese cold before you start to run it through the food processor. Also, hi, Time. Welcome in.
Bella. I have done this with, usually if I'm doing cheddar, I keep it either
frozen.
ice cold or frozen. But the farmer's cheese frozen won't mix well with lasagna, so which is why it's refrigerator temperature, not
Yeah, and
frozen.
ideally, I'll just stick these two back in for right now.
Well, I'm about to leave them.
Okay.
So I'm about, by the time I use them.
Okay. And unfortunately, Bella does not like the food processor. Yes, we see your statement on that, dog. We appreciate it. We appreciate the time. We appreciate that statement.
Her other problem is we have food and she doesn't.
Exactly. We're not feeding her. We're sorry. No, not really. You ate breakfast, and you had your carrot more than once. So.
No.
But, as we wait for cheese, we should wait a couple more seconds for cheese.
One more and we're done. Bella, stop.
But this is a much faster and easier way to do 2 pounds of a 2-pound wheel of cheese. I guess I should ask if anybody has any questions while we're waiting.
Okay, I'm just about done. It's gonna get.
Oh, that's okay. It is a very good cheese, though, for this. Here, can I borrow that for a second?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So it looks like this, and as you can see, it looks like. Thank you for that, Time. No worries, Time. I appreciate that. As you see, it looks a lot like that shredded mozzarella that you get in bag. It's just a lot creamier and better. It'll taste better. Right, Mama?
Mm-hmm. It has this slightly nutty, it's hard to describe. There's a slightly nutty flavor, but really just good. Just good.
It's just good. And it melts the same as mozzarella, which is important for this dish, and it has the right texture. Oh, wait, there's a big piece left behind.
Thank you.
And
okay. There you go.
If you're not being pizzaland while you're cooking, I don't know what kind of cooking you're doing.
Pizzaland, for those of you who don't speak Sicilian, means if you're not picking or tasting as you go, you can't cook that way.
Mm-mm.
You need your measuring cups.
Why do we need measuring cups? So,
some people measure. Some people might want to know approximately how much stuff we're throwing together. Not me, but you know, some people measure.
look, was this not the... Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, Mommy, but was this not the recipe when you were doing it with Sia that you stopped Sia?
Harry did.
So, my cousin... Complicated family. You know what? It doesn't matter. My cousin's... this recipe comes from our cousin's mother, Sia.
My great aunt.
See.
No, my aunt. Yeah.
No, your aunt.
Great aunt. Giuseppe's great aunt.
Giuseppe's aunt. Look, the generational thing, it's easier just to say Sia. And when they were finally writing down this recipe, her daughter, Mary, stopped her like every 5 minutes to measure out the weight.
Every step
Of what she...
What a handful was.
What a thing is.
What a pinch is.
I'm going to just adjust a little of the overhead light. Because we're a little washed out. That's what we have dimmers for, Mom. Haha. There we go.
You have another question.
I do have a question. There's a Volpes. Hello. What? Hi. This is Mama Rose. She can wave. Volpes, welcome in. Today we are doing lasagna, Volpes. And as you can hear, so cheese. Yeah, so my cousin Mary, well...
Yeah, cousin Mary, just leave it there.
Yeah, we'll just leave it cousin Mary. Would stop her mother and was like, you've got a handful of this, let me measure out exactly how much that quantity is. You got a pinch of this, what does that actually measure? It's like, well, who cares? You're doing it by eyes anyways. But then again, Mary was an accountant and a bookkeeper.
Well, the other... Sorry, the dog is just getting leftovers here.
Which is important, because you have to get the dog leftovers.
Thing that she captured very carefully was the steps and what order you did things in. And
I mean, technically, Mom,
yeah,
the traditional recipe uses scamots, not even mozzarella.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's spelled scamorza, S-C-A-M-O-R-Z-A, very often in the U.S., and basically it's smoked mozzarella.
Oh, mozzarella. Oh, it's...
Right.
Smoked cheese is better.
And if you can find it, for a grating cheese, you can get baked ricotta.
Ricotta salata, not baked.
No. There's two different things.
Ricotta asciutta, but you can't get baked ricotta.
Right. In the U.S., you can get what's called ricotta salata, which is where you take ricotta and let it drain and let it solidify, so it's almost a grating texture. But
we have one.
Do we? I don't think so.
Yeah, we got a little end of it. Haha. We have an end.
So it's almost a grating texture, but it's still kind of creamy. And if you're in a specialty store in New York,
as you can see, like that,
it looks like it comes out to the consistency of like the farmer's cheese, only a little harder. We keep it in the freezer because it spoils very quickly. There's an Italian importing store in Chelsea Market in New York that I haven't gotten to, but they have ricotta asciutta, which is dried and baked, so it's got a brown crust on it.
Or
That's
smoked.
the kind of, or smoked. That's the kind of ricotta I grew up with. People in Italy used to send stuff until people in the post office on both sides of the Atlantic would steal it. So this Italian importing store in Chelsea Market in New York on 8th Avenue and 14th Street is a great resource if you're in the neighborhood. And unfortunately, we don't get... I used to work across the street from there, but I don't anymore. So
Hashtag not sponsored.
yes, absolutely not sponsored.
We have to do this.
That's fine.
Otherwise, they get mad. But, so, we've got our whipped goat cheese, which is my substitute for ricotta because I can't have it. We're going to make another bowl using regular ricotta for my sister, but she's got the gluten-free pasta and we have the regular pasta. It's fine. We've got multiple allergies. It's all good. So we're going to do this one first, and then we'll do my sister's. So we're going to start, we start with this, and I season this. And then add this in, because this is a more texture thing. But though, wait, we have one last thing to... Okay. We doing all right? It doesn't say we're getting dropped frames. So, okay. It was just my display being weird. All right. Look, we're running. It'll be great. So, your ricotta, or whatever you're using,
just please don't use cottage cheese.
Oh, God, don't use cottage cheese. There's too much liquid in cottage cheese.
And the curds, the texture on the curds doesn't melt correctly.
It doesn't melt.
Anyway.
I've never seen... Has anyone ever actually tried to melt cottage? I've never seen melted cottage cheese work.
Anyway.
Successfully.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, dear.
And as we suddenly got very dim. Wow. Oh, it's the sun moving over the thing. Okay. That's why it's easy to fix. Lighting. There we go. Easy to... Hi, dog. So, your ricotta, the farmer's cheese or mozzarella, or... And then you have the third cheese that goes into this. Traditionally, it's Parmigiano. We like pecorino, which is A, a cheese I can eat, and B,
slightly stronger flavor, better texture. And, Parmesan, sometimes all you taste is the salt, but Pecorino Romano has a little bit nuttier texture, a little bit nuttier flavor.
Yeah, it's just, it looks like a grated cheese. It looks almost identical, and here, I'll even switch cameras so you can see it a little better. There you go. It lumped up, so it broke, but...
by the way, if you don't like to cook with your hands, then basically just
stop cooking.
Stop cooking. Sorry. You got to get your hands dirty.
But yeah, so, you've got some pecorino. Now, technically, we're eyeballing this. It'll be fine.
You got measuring cups to start with if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could actually use a measuring cup. Why brush these things? And technically it's only a quarter cup of grated cheese, which is pretty easy, but it's also going to lump up. And so any grated cheese is going to lump. It just happens. So you want to take the minute to break up some of those lumps. You're going to do it a little bit more in depth when you mix this, but you're going to want to take the second to do it in advance. It will make things taste better, 100%. All right, we can put this cheese away for right now.
Obviously, Bella thinks she spilled some.
Well, of course Bella thinks I spilled some because she's got to drink. She got to check the floor. Yeah. Vulpes is correct. Dirty extra measuring cups? But that means more to wash later. Yeah. Are we getting dropped frames, guys? It looks like it, but I can't tell. It doesn't seem to be on my feed that it is. Oh no, it's just Twitch. It's not for me, it's Twitch. Okay. Yeah, I see that. I see that. Can I get Twitch to stop being twitchy? The lifelong question. Can you get Twitch to stop being twitchy? You know what? We forgot that. So we're going to turn that off. We're going to close this for a second. Sorry, Mom.
Close everything. I forgot to close this stuff. Sorry.
No, it's fine. There we go. All right, so that should give us a little bit. You're still getting a little bump in bit rate, but we're not getting any dropped frames.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's Twitch. I'm going to try, guys, and keep going. Yeah, Twitch is being a Twitch as people start to log in for Saturday streams. You're right, Vulpus. All right. Whipped cheese. Grated cheese. And then the trinity of seasonings that exist in Italian cooking.
God.
Salt, pepper, garlic, and parsley.
That's 4.
Salt and pepper are kind of the same thing.
No.
Well, I mean, you need one goes with the other.
Were you thinking of salt and pepper as one?
Yeah, you conceptually think of them as one. But you also don't need a lot of salt in this because you've got a lot of very salty cheeses.
Right.
So I use barely any because there's a lot of salt in the cheeses here. A little bit of salt. We're going to switch cams again. So, just the tiniest bit here. Sprinkle it around. What I am going to put a decent amount of... Does onion count as veggies? Yes, onion does technically count as veggies unless you're using onion powder, in which, whatever. Pepper. Now, people say pepper to taste. I think you want a decent amount. Because there'll be a lot of cheese that you will taste in this. And the tomatoes and the pasta. So...
Your seasonings should always be, there's, as we said, the measurements we're using were based on somebody stopping her mother and looking at what a handful was. So approximates a teaspoon in the family recipe, but pepper and parsley are just throw it in. So, seasonings should always just be to taste, and what you see in a recipe is usually a guide.
Yeah. Except in baking. Which is chemistry and an entirely different subject. Garlic powder, because okay. Look at me, people. Fresh garlic in everything, great. Garlic powder in this. Because you don't want to bite into a garlic clove in the mixture of the cheese.
Right.
You want a little bit of it, you're going to get more in the sauce, you're going to get more other places. This is just to kick it up a notch. And you can never, and Vulpus is correct, you can never have too much parsley. Well, you can never have too much Italian parsley. There is that other kind of parsley that we don't need to talk about that's just almost...
Mexican stuff?
No, that's cilantro, but I'm actually talking about the other, not flat leaf parsley, but the other one.
Right, curly.
Yeah, that's... And again...
And under the heading of surprising food allergies, I worked with somebody who was allergic to parsley. You probably want to take this off.
Why?
And just...
Oh, okay.
There is a shaker top to this, but
Why?
The holes I find annoying because the parsley,
Gets stuck in them.
Gets stuck, doesn't come out very well.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Now we switch to this bigger spoon.
Nana's old spoon.
The spoon is... Thank you. Oh, okay.
You want to taste?
Oh, I always want to taste. I mean, it's cheese. Cheese is good. Except for apparently there are people that don't like cheese, and I'm sorry for them. I'm more sorry for people who like cheese and can't eat it. Alright, so this is a good way. I like to get this started, because this is gonna be the nice base here of our flavors. And look how pretty, look at that. That looks so pretty. I'm even playing with the camera. Alright, you can see that. Yay. There we go. So, that No, there are replicants pretending to be people who don't like cheese. I agree with you on that one, Volpez. I very much agree with you on that one.
Except you have a really good friend who doesn't do cheese.
Look, he's got other issues. He's like, aren't you going to make me this? I'm like, no, you don't like cheese. There's no reason to make you that.
Okay.
So we got this. We need the eggs. And then, so we're going to mix in, this is the other thing I like to do. I like to mix in about 1.5 handfuls, or 2 handfuls of the shredded did you know that Jacques Pepin says that's the most unsanitary way to make a cheese? Open an egg.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're probably supposed to. What are you supposed to do?
Flat crack it, because if you crack it on something else, you put the shell, which has all of the.
So you probably should just wash the shell.
That's an even better idea. See, here comes Mom.
Well, of course, Jacques also has his own.
Jacques has his own kitchen. He has his own things. He does all of this stuff.
His own chickens too, I think.
Oh, did you see that?
No, he buys from. Anyway.
No, he has chickens. He also has he released a new book.
Yes, with his chicken art.
With his chicken art and all of these things.
The family recipe says 5 extra large or
5 jumbo eggs.
Or 6 extra large, or 6
5 or 6 jumbo eggs.
Again, it's about how creamy this is,
and the goat cheese is creamier to start with.
Right. So when you're mixing it with the regular regatta, you might at the end need to pour in just a little milk to make it creamy. But that's again, you know.
We might not need 5 eggs. And yes, you tap downwards to get things to slide off. Hawkeye says, my wife can't have cheese or heavy spice. Her gallbladder is removed. Yeah, I mean, like, those people I feel very sorry for. And my daughter is one of those replicants that doesn't like cheese since she was a kid. I mean, like, maybe if it's because when she was a kid, she just has an allergy. A lot of things that are coming out now of people who are like my age or, you know, a little bit younger, Zillennials and millennials are getting to a point where they were accused of being picky eaters were kids, and then coming out that no, what they actually had was food sensitivities and food allergies that people didn't know about or pay attention to.
What are you doing on the eggs?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I don't think we need.
Okay.
Right, Mom? What do you think?
No, as long as it's spreadable.
Oh, it is very spreadable.
Okay, then.
But I am going to do the other trick of putting hello, boys, welcome in. We should stick this in the fridge.
Mm-hmm.
So we can keep it cold.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And now the other thing you want to do is want to mix it well so that there are no streaks of yellow left in your filling. You don't want streaks of yellow in your filling. It should look kind of like this. We, boys, are making my family's recipe for lasagna. None of this. We are not putting any meat in the lasagna. We will be making something else in the near future to go with it. Right, Mama?
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Filling. Finito. Well, actually, at this point, you should taste to see if you need to add any more seasoning. Where did I just put the little one? Yeah, I'll just get one of these. Who knows?
Probably in the sink somewhere. Hope it didn't fall on anything.
Mama.
Okay, so where did you go with the, oh, there are the scissors. All right, never mind. Thank you.
That's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Good texture.
Good texture. Good flavor. Just a little garlic in the background, not a lot, just a little pepper.
Stir a little bit more because there's a strong salt taste there.
And I did not put anywhere near as much salt.
No, but you just need to make sure you incorporate it. I mean, I realize some of that's the cheese.
A lot of that's the cheese, but you want to add in a little more pepper then?
No, it's good. Put on the pepper.
Okay. And that's the other thing is, you don't, when it comes to flavor in a recipe, like, right, we were saying, this recipe says, oh, use a teaspoon of salt. But if you're bound to the recipe and your ingredients aren't quite the same as what's exactly in the recipe, you're going to end up with unpalatable, it's not going to taste as good. It's not going to be as flavorful. It's
It might be too much. Or
might be too much. It might be too little. Things change. Flavor profiles change. As much. And now, we're going to take a second. Hello, Annie Geek making. Yes. Voice. We are Sicilian. You do not put meat in your lasagna. You can't afford to. It's too expensive.
In Sicily.
In Sicily. And it tastes better. You don't add all the extra grease. If you choose to do so, you need to pre-cook all of that meat in advance. Drain it really, really well. Blot it with paper towels. Get rid of all of that extra grease. And then, but even then. All right, getting this out of the way. This is really easy to just put in the dishwasher because it's right here. As I try not to trip over the dog, who is, of course, right behind me. See, she's right here. You can see her. Yay! There's the Bella. I mean, I suppose that's fair. If you're working, if you're working in dairy and you decide that you just don't want to eat cheese anymore because, it reminds you of work, fair. I feel sorry for you. But, so next step, if we were doing the, next step you would take out the pasta that you have pre-made. And again, this goes back to that discussion about whether you're pre-making pasta, using fresh pasta, or using dried pasta sheets. And if you're using dried pasta sheets, you should boil them and then layer. And then, but if you're using the oven ready, it doesn't work so well. Volpa says, well, everyone knows the most important payment is the canine tithe. Yes, it is.
However, I will tell you that if you have a canine that is begging all the time and hungry, ours is on a diet because she's old. Our vet said carrots and green beans because they give the dog a lot to chew. They're fiber and they fill her up, and she's not going to gain weight from eating lots of cookies, which is probably a smart idea for us too. Huh?
Yeah, you like the crunchy. All right, so lasagna. We have traditionally made the pasta, but that's a lot more effort. Like, I love y'all sometimes, but it's a party day. Our Shelties have always had carrots for treats. Exactly. Carrots are very sweet. Which is why if you're making, some people we knew who used to make sauce from scratch with fresh tomatoes, like Uncle Happy would put a carrot in his pasta sauce when he was making it from the garden, which I should say garden, but Uncle Happy's garden was an acre, half acre.
Yeah, anyway.
Because he had the double lot.
Yep, but anyway, the carrot does the same thing as a little cinnamon. It's just enough sweetness to cut the acidity of tomatoes.
But if you have a good Italian grocer, or even some like bigger grocery stores, I think I've seen them in Kroger a couple times.
Whole Foods.
Whole paycheck. Or Publix, definitely I've seen them. You can just get.
In the Stop and Shop here in the U.S.
Yes. Or Publix.
Yeah. Depends on where you are.
Publix is in the U.S.
Yeah, but Publix isn't necessarily a northern store.
Sure. Whole bunch of places. Wegmans. You can get fresh pasta sheets that are, as I'm going to get out, they're just sheets of pasta, right? They're separated by wax paper. And that makes it easy to have fresh pasta for your lasagna, and then you cut them to fit the shape.
Okay.
All right, we ready?
We got a pan ready.
All right, we're gonna set everything up so that we can assemble. And I think actually this is a good time to take a short break, 5 minutes, so we can get everything set up so you can follow us along for the next step. I will run the ad break while we're running on this break, so take your time and just leave the browser up and walk away. We're okay with that. All right, see you in a few minutes, everybody. Hello, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Stick this back in the
Well,
freezer.
are we gonna need it for
For Shannon's, yeah.
for Shannon's?
Okay.
I didn't know if that was.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And it's enough. It's still frozen well enough it can sit out.
Okay.
So welcome back. We hope you're refreshed, stretched, did all those things. Got yourself some more water if you needed it. Be healthy. Don't forget to hydrate. Now it is time to assemble the lasagna. So, first step. Now, some people don't line. Traditionally, you don't line the lasagna pan with parchment paper. We're doing this to try and keep the lasagna clean.
The pans are brand new.
And Mama wants to keep them clean, which
If I can.
That makes sense to me.
If I can't, oh well.
Okay, so first step. Lasagna just as layers, right? Repeated layers over and over and over again. But first layer is always
Sauce.
sauce. Mama, go.
Well, and there is, in Italian circles, is it sauce or is it gravy?
I have heard that there's a debate about this. V and Mike may have had a massive international fight about this. I think it depends what you're doing with it, right?
Well, it also depends whether, it depends on what kind of, but everybody's talking about Sunday sauce.
Everybody's talking about Sunday sauce, and it doesn't sound as good as Sunday gravy.
Well, and it has to do with how you translate the word ragu, ragu in English, and what part of it's Italy you come from. I read one time that there are 140 different dialects.
That makes sense. Okay, this is...
Okay, now we are...
Welcome in, Stephen! Hey, Raiders, welcome in. We are I am your friendly neighborhood Prax. Welcome, Raiders. We really appreciate that. Thank you for that raid, Stephen. I am your friendly neighborhood Prax. This is my mama, Mama Rose.
Hi there.
We are making Sunday dinner on Saturday today. So we are making lasagna. And Mom is doing the most important task. Everyone will tell you that there are many tasks that go into making a lasagna. But the most important is...
patience and spreading everything well into the corners.
It has to go all the way to the corners.
I don't think this parchment's going to work, but that's right.
Okay, do we want to get rid of it?
Yeah, we'll just...
All right. I'm sorry, we can't keep the parchment clean. We're not going to...
I'm not going to waste the sauce.
No, there's no reason to waste the sauce.
Okay, so part of the reason Prax was trying very hard to put the parchment in for me is because I have these brand new gorgeous lasagna pans, never been used, and the reality is the first time you cook with something,
it's going to get messy and you're never going to redeem it.
Yeah, it's never going to look the same. So, oh well, I can't tell you how traumatic this is, but we're good. So back to the original.
Back to the old-fashioned way of just layering sauce into the bottom of the lasagna pan. But yes, hey, Stephen, welcome in. How was your, what is it? It's Saturday, so it was core day, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's core keeper day. How was that going for you? Sorry, as I do production stuff and lean over the thing.
Okay, so the big secret here is having the patience to spread the thin, you want a thin layer on the bottom. It's too thick is going to change the texture. When the layers are too thick, the pasta, I don't like the way the pasta comes out. Let's just say that.
And as we've determined, Mama has the right answer, and what Mama wants, Mama gets.
So you need to be very careful about spreading all of this evenly into the corners. That's where people tend to just kind of dump it in. And
we are when we would make pasta, when we do this, that's the other way. That's the other trick.
It's almost like when you bake a cake and you want the layer of the cake to be even, you shake the pan. So there we go. Next.
So when we would do this with our cousins, our cousin Josephine's job was to make sure that everything got into the layers, into the corners.
She was the one who had the patience.
She had the patience. And she is no longer with us, so now we have to pretend to have patience ourselves. Okay, so unfortunately, Mom,
What?
they didn't put the paper all the way across, all the way over. So the edge
That's right.
is, there we go. All right, lasagna sheet. And you know the nice thing about lasagna sheets? It don't have to be perfect. If it's perfect rips, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Can we get two this way?
Yeah, I think we can.
And this is actually, this is one. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it'll
Wait,
overlap a little.
No, there's...
No, there's just one. Is it
Oh.
right too?
No, it's just the extra.
That's the extra edge. Okay.
If they overlap, it's okay. And actually, that can sometimes be better. But see? You got your nice lasagna, all even here.
And somebody asks you how many layers. It's as much as you've got pasta or as deep as you want to make it.
And as much as filling as you have. Because, you know, sometimes that's the next step. By the way, sauce, pasta, filling, sauce, repeated, ad nauseum. Doop, 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 doop. Boop.
A little less than that.
A little less than that. Well, I was trying to get it off the spoon is the problem.
Okay. Here's the other secret to how it spreads more easily.
Mom's going to show you. This is the best part. It's all going to get mixed in your mouth anyways.
It's really important to get it all the way to the edge, as much as you can. And it's trial and error.
And I step back and let the professional do this. Because she's better at it than I am. Well, she also has had more experience than I have.
Okay, do you need a little blob more of... The other thing is if you add the sauce, go ahead.
Where? Okay.
If you add the sauce on top of the cheese, then you don't actually have to spread out a full layer of sauce.
Yeah.
Because it's already mixed in there and you'll get the sauce flavor.
Which is all you really want. Because you're going to also have sauce on the side when you make dinner. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this lasagna sheet will slide. There is nothing to happening about that. It's just going to happen.
Especially the first one, that the only thing keeping it on the bottom is the
little layer of sauce.
just a smidge right here.
And this really is, like, I've done, when I was living in Atlanta and living by myself, I did this by myself. But making lasagna is always more fun with people.
Yeah, like I said, we used to have a lasagna party. Start with 5 pounds of flour, and then have dinner.
Yeah,
One tray was dinner, and all the rest went in the freezer.
That's what you need to do.
And that was the days of a hand crank pasta machine, folks. Do you want a little bit more on here?
Yeah, I think that's good for the first layer. Or do you want some more over here?
Yeah, just a little bit more. And it's all by eye.
There is no measurement system.
Yeah, there's no way to tell you that, you know, it's, you know, the layer is 1 cup, 2 cups, 1.5 cups.
And then this is where I do my little trick. This is what I like to do. As Mom perfects again the layer.
This is a recipe that requires patience.
Yeah, exactly, Volpez. Lasagna for one is just kind of sad. It's like making a paella for one. The thing was, I would do, when I was living in Atlanta, I would do this and I'd make them into mini loaf pans, and then that would be good enough for me to have for dinner plus lunch to take to work. And then I would give a bunch of them away to like my friends.
Okay.
And I'm going to, this is not traditional, but I like this because of the way the farmer's cheese works and the way it melts. If I throw a little bit in as an extra layer. Doop, 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 doop. Doop,
Oh,
doop, doop.
yeah, paella is delicious. Yes, she does. She's actually kibitzing over here.
Yeah, she does want her next time. She kibits about a lot of things. She doesn't want to get up. She doesn't want to actually comment. But she wants you to know that she's there. All right.
You're right. Paella for one is paella is really. I just spent a week in Spain this summer, and paella was interesting.
Are we turning?
No, I would just do it the same way.
Continue the same way.
Yeah, because of the size of these sheets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boop boop boop.
Okay.
And then pressing is not a bad thing. Press
Okay.
gently, but press. Yeah, we'll get 3 layers out of this. It's fine.
That's fine. This pan is seriously deep, but I don't, and that works with the box lasagna noodles because they're deeper.
Because they're thicker.
They're thicker, but you know, it's as much in here as you want.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? We said this before. This is a look. The regular ricotta.
You need to
is-
say goodbye to somebody.
Oh, wait, yes, Hawkeye, go have fun. If Simon's still here, goodbye, Simon. It's Scion today that they're doing. Scion Day. But yeah, have fun, enjoy. May you come back from the underworld not, totally messed up.
As you saw, we put another layer of
Add more sauce.
pasta and filling.
And sauce, and exactly the same thing, and it will keep going.
Till you run out of filling.
Till you run out of filling. Now,
Enough.
ideally, part of this is we're going to have a little bit thinner because of the way we're doing this, but also because of the type of cheese we're using. Again, we've said this before about the fact that I have an allergy and my sister has an allergy, and our 2 allergies don't meet. Have a good lurk, Annie. We'll be here. We'll be here when you get back. But the thing is, so I got a little bit less of
Smidgy bit.
of the fancy cheese to do this with because it's expensive. Dove.
Okay. Blah, blah, blah.
See.
Okay. Our best.
See. Remember how we said we would be in multiple languages today? That's what's going to happen.
I grew up with my Sicilian grandmother as my babysitter when my mother went to work. So I learned Sicilian before I ever learned English. And that's the language I think in first. So don't be surprised, folks.
And when it comes to the kitchen, I usually just think in Sicilian. And there are words that neither of us really think of in English or for centuries new in English generation. Wow, time is amorphous. Number of years to determine it new in English.
Mm-hmm.
Like that thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Crit.
Yeah.
Crit says, so what I've heard here is I've never put enough to hit the corners well, and I put too much in the red stuff in. I mean, probably. The sauce is...
It's to taste, but remember that lasagna, you want the flavors to meld, so too much of any one thing changes the flavor profile. And some of this is experimental, but yeah, that's why I think that if you just do a layer of cheese and then throw a layer of sauce on top, I think you get too much tomato flavor, and the others, it overwhelms everything else. Especially if the tomatoes the tomatoes are a little acidic or a little thick, But again, it's trial and error and what you like to taste.
And then on top of that, there's also the issue of how much liquid is in your sauce, right? The more liquid is in your sauce, the harder it's going to be to bake. Because that's the thing is, like, you're baking it so it firms up. And if you have too much liquid, you might end up with the pasta being cooked. Well, the pasta being cooked and done, and then the cheese not being solidified because, oh, you know what we could have done? Oh well. And it's all good. We could have doubled the layer of sheets of pasta.
Yeah, that's all right. I like it thinner.
This is true.
Actually, no, I never learned the curses. My grandparents wouldn't talk that way in front of us.
I know a couple of them from other people, but not from. That was from Poppy. Well, not Poppy, from.
Yeah, people in the restaurant.
People in the restaurant, which is a different thing.
Yep. Yeah, no, unfortunately, I never learned.
So we're just gonna go ahead and dump all of this, right?
Yeah, that's all you got. I mean, let's see.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
We're debating how much filling we have left, but I think we're gonna need it all for this layer, which is fine. And then we'll just put a layer of pasta on the top and some sauce and some shredded
cheese. That'll work.
And I will tell you that it rarely turns out the same way twice.
No, this is never. I have never had it successfully. You know, it will always turn out successfully, but it will never be the same twice and twice. You know, and success is a different thing, right?
Listen, as long as it tastes good. Who cares?
Exactly.
Now the other thing is,
if it's, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say lasagna isn't always pretty.
No,
I think we're just gonna use that up.
Okay.
We're making a choice here to just use up the filling that we've got, which is going to make this layer a little heavier, but that's all right. A little more full, not heavy. I mean, it's the thing about using the goat cheese, the farmer's cheese. And the advantage to mixing in the farmer's cheese and the pecorino is that goat cheese doesn't taste like goat cheese.
Oh no, it doesn't taste like goat cheese at all.
Because it's whipped. First of all, it's whipped. And second, you know, sometimes goat cheese has a really strong flavor. People don't like it.
Add a little garlic, it'll be fine.
You add a little garlic and salt and pepper and sauce, and it doesn't taste like goat cheese. For most people. No. Okay. Remember what I said before?
There's no clean
You gotta
way to do
get your
this.
hands dirty.
You gotta do it with your hands. I mean, you wash your hands, of course, but you gotta do this with your hands.
You get a spoon.
See.
Please.
Okay. Oop. Don't need the big spoon brush. Only need the spoon.
Okay.
I'll hold you scrape.
Mm-hmm. This does work easier when there are two people.
At least.
At least. But one to hold and one to scrape. Because you sure don't want to leave anything behind, except a teensy tiny amount for somebody who's going to lick the bowl.
Exactly. That's the important thing.
Okay, we're good. She can have the rest.
Yep. And by someone to lick the bowl, we mean the four-legged person. There you go. Enjoy, dog. Also makes it easier to clean up when you gotta put it in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Also, you always want to end on a layer of pasta, right? You don't, like, pasta, then a little bit of sauce, and then shredded cheese on top. You don't want a layer of filling on the top. You want to protect it. Which means we're gonna we'll have to figure something out to do with these extra sheets.
Wrap them up and stick them in the freezer.
Yeah.
And we'll figure them out later.
We'll figure them out later.
Because they will roll and permanagua.
Oh, that'll be really good. Why is the first one always just off? Just a little bit.
The way they packaged it. Okay.
Okay. Final layer of pasta going down. Then a layer of tomato. It's a little more liberal. I'm going to get that. No, that's you. I put stuff down. You, Mama does the spreading. Bella, there is you that have fun. But exactly, she gets to enjoy all the stuff in the bowl.
That's right. And it also keeps her busy for a little while. Sort of like having a toddler.
It does make it easier to clean. Okay.
By the way, for lasagna, you don't need sauce cooked as long as you do for Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
If you have a microwave, 10-15 minutes just for the flavors to blend, and then let it stand, and then you just mix it in like this.
You don't want hot sauce going in this, though.
Right, so you let it come to room temperature afterwards, but okay.
All right.
I spit.
See? Settled?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Now we get some of our shredded farmer's cheese and sprinkle that on top. I really like this though, this cheese. I mean, admittedly, we started buying it because I can't have mozzarella anymore. But I really like what it does for like pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, and this when I do garlic bread with this, really good. There we go. That's a nice layer, right, Mama?
Yeah, that's good, and it's not
Are we
too
gonna
much.
add some parsley to the top to make it pretty?
Mm-hmm.
A little parsley to the top to make it pretty.
Yep.
Now watch the lid.
Again, we still are working at getting it in the corners and trying to keep it even, because we talked about cheese, especially cheese that's either shredded or grated, clumps. And you don't want, I mean, unless you are a true cheese fanatic, you don't necessarily want it right into a giant lump.
And even then, it's awkward when the rest of it's all very melty and there's this one piece that isn't melty.
And you want to make sure that when you're doing this, that the corners of the pasta
Are covered.
That's partly why you have to be really attentive to getting stuff in the corners, and why we didn't have too much sauce here, just enough so it's not soupy.
Yeah, you don't want soupy lasagna. That is the worst. Just a little bit of parsley on top to make it pretty. And now the next trick that I have done. Stick it in the fridge.
Right.
So it sets before you put it in the oven later tonight for dinner.
Right.
I'm going to cover this and take it downstairs to put it in the other fridge.
Yep.
Well, would you like to get started on the second? We're going to need to make a second batch of the filling.
Yes.
Which I did get actual ricotta for because my sister can have that versus me who cannot. So, another very important warning. I'm going to give you this warning because it's been an unfortunate issue for my father. Do not put a layer of... If you put a layer of plastic on top of this and then cover it with something else, like say foil, let people know before it goes in the oven so you don't end up putting saran wrap in the oven.
Because when you cook it, you're going to cook it with the foil on first.
You want to cook it with the foil on to protect it, and you may not know that there's a layer of saran wrap underneath there.
Right, and then you're going to take the foil off for the last few minutes.
Or wax paper. Same problem with wax. Well, wax paper can go into a certain level of temperature, but ideally not.
Here, why don't I take it downstairs while you...
Oh, you'll will I make filling?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to have to come back so you can taste it.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to
She's not going to run away and join.
I'm not going to Taormina with it.
Look, if you were going to Taormina, I would totally understand, and I'd be like, I love you, internet, we're gone. That would be my answer.
Yeah, anyway.
Anyways, here you go.
And the bowl is clean.
Oh, wait, Sharpie. Sharpie.
Right.
Because we're going to have 2 identical trays. And the Sharpie isn't going to matter if it goes in the oven. Are you sure you don't want me to carry that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move the sauce back out of the way. Over here. Keeping the cover back on it. Okay, just to protect it. All right, so now we're back with the bowl cam. Bowl cam is activated, everybody. Oh, I can even do that. Haha. Professional. I am getting good at this and fancy stuff. Okay. So, farmer's cheese, actual ricotta. Now, here's where the thing gets interesting. There is a debate about whether you use whole milk ricotta or part skim. Now, for some people's health, you would use part skim because it's lower in fat. And trust me, there's going to be plenty of cheese in this that'll just be, you know, welcome to the party. You're not going to lose out on any fats. But the reason to do part skim, from my experience, is the moisture content is a little bit different. And it works a little bit better. Also, if at all possible, use actually imported Italian brands. They just make it better. It tastes better. There we go. Ricotta. And the other nice thing about ricotta is it literally comes out of the thing so easily. Just all the glen. Fat can bring flavor to the party, but it also can bring additional moisture. And lasagna really is, at its core, about controlling moisture. Right, Mom?
Yep.
You want, because you have all of these things that are a lot of liquid, but you don't want to, when you bake it, you want everything to set without burning. So you need a certain level of moisture to protect the pasta, to prevent it from burning. But by the same token, you don't want too much moisture because that will give you liquidy, soapy, and then nothing will set. Right? That's what we need to do. Where did... Yeah, time to switch to a different spoon. I might have to wash one. No, we have the other one.
Yeah, that's the one I used to boil water.
Then that'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
Because this is all for her anyways. And again, make sure you break up your ricotta before you do anything else. That will be one of the easiest steps. And it will give you a better final product. And now I need to move this camera briefly. Really briefly. It'll go right back. It'll be fine. And what?
She outside again?
No. The Baletza?
Yeah.
No, I didn't take her outside. She's somewhere. Oh, she's over here.
Okay.
This is the other thing, is the question of, well, where's the dog right now? Dog is over here on the side. She's laying out literally in the second to worst possible place she could be at the moment. Between the pantry and the fridge and where I'm standing. Where she really likes to be. So everything in here is the same. Again, a little garlic. A little pepper.
I'm going to shred this.
Yeah, you're going to shred. That makes sense. We're going to need it.
Make noise again.
It's okay.
Whoops.
Some parsley. A little more parsley. I mean, why rush these things, Mom? We're not, you don't have to rush getting things perfect. We're gonna add our already grated
Okay, I'm sorry. It's the bowl for the... Okay. I wasn't sure what...
That's what I was trying to do, Mom. Just hand it to you. It's fine.
It looked like you were waiting for me to put something in it.
No. I was just trying to hand it to you.
Okay.
All right. All right. Now eggs.
I'll put it back in the fridge.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I forgot we needed them.
All right. Crack the egg. I figure 3. That one cracked vertically instead of horizontally. Good to know. Yeah, I was just going to wait and not talk while Mom's running the food processor so you can.
Okay.
But I can wait. That's okay.
I'm done.
Oh, well, then we're done. Because we had to grate more cheese. I think this is good, right, Mom?
Yeah. That's a good.
All right. That's as much as you're going to get, internet, because any more than that and DMCA would be after me. Because, DMCA is not cool.
Okay. There you go, Dee.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's... Yeah, I'm gonna...
Okay.
All right. A little bit more freshly grated farmer's cheese right in here with the ricotta. Now, of course, the seasoning is going to be that you need is going to be different based on the cheese you do. Hello, Conti. Welcome in. How are you doing? How's life going for you these days? As we work, yeah, that looks good, right, Mom? Yeah, that looks good. There we go.
Is it spreadable?
It looks spreadable to me. All right, moving the farmer's cheese out of the way, putting it back in the fridge so it stays nice and cold. Because I will admit, the farmer's cheese, it gets very melty very quickly, and it can dry out if it's left out too long, which is why I put it back in the fridge. We're doing okay. We're making some lasagna today. We did our first tray, and the second tray is now time for my sister's, which is gluten-free. And we have another perfect brand new Le Creuset, hashtag not sponsored, lasagna pan. Yeah, slide this way. There you go. So you can still see the lasagna pan. And of course, cleaner in chief here, Bella, is licking all of the things that have fallen on the floor. Good lasagna is worth it, Conti. Good lasagna is worth it.
And once you have homemade lasagna, you're never going back.
Nope.
Okay. There's the lid.
That even becomes something that I become very picky about at restaurants. Like,
sort of like good eggplant parmesan. I was at a restaurant in DC this week. Fancy Italian restaurant, high priced, and it was made like a Napoleon, and they told you there were some breadcrumbs in it, and the only thing in it that I could taste were breadcrumbs, maybe a little cheese. I couldn't find the eggplant.
no, see, that's not good. You know. Lasagna, Ice Bunny, you're correct. The gluten-free lasagna sheets are a little bit more crumbly, which is why after we drained them, Mom put them in some cold water to keep them from breaking.
And the gluten-free ones, you just have to trial and, as we said, trial and error. First of all, what can you get in your neighborhood and or at your grocery store, and what do you like? I mean,
Like, there are some brands that my sister says are just not worth buying because they don't taste good. You know?
Okay. So for anybody who's joined us
Midway through. Welcome in, thank you.
Welcome in. And
if you joined us from that rant from Steven, hi, thanks. Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
And the reason I'm shaking it like I would a cake pan is to make sure that the layer on the bottom is even.
Because you want to make sure that the sauce goes all the way to the corners.
Okay. Now we're going to play with
Pasta sheets, which is always complicated.
This is a new brand of gluten-free pasta that we haven't used before, so
it's sticking a little.
It's sticking a little, but
yeah. So how about them Yankees? Let's not. I mean, I want to support Aaron Judge. Good for him, but I really want the Yankees to lose.
Can you get me another Quasar?
You're talking about celiac, Ice Bunny. And yeah, if you're doing cutout cookies with gluten-free, that's really beyond the...
Right. The gluten-free pasta here is sticking, so it's going to be a little more patchwork than I would normally like, but that's okay. And for anybody who's not familiar with celiac or some of those other diseases, they're on a spectrum. So some people can have a little gluten and it doesn't bother them. Other people, the least little bit, sends them over the edge. And the other thing we've learned is that gluten hides in a whole bunch of places you wouldn't expect it to be. One of them, surprisingly, is paper straws. So we're all trying to be earth conscious and not use plastic straws, which is fine, except that many brands of paper straws use wheat starch to hold the straw together. So if you go out someplace and they offer you paper straws, I would just say, no thank you. Or if it's in your drink, take it out very quickly. And we learned this the hard way, because my other daughter would go out and get iced coffee, and they would put a paper straw in her drink, and she would, as many of us do, let the coffee sit. So the first sips were fine, but an hour later, she was starting to feel sick and couldn't figure out why.
Why don't we just make it a little thicker, Mom?
Yep.
I mean, overall, they're...
Right. She also went to a fancy hotel and looked at the shampoo, which had wheat in it. So, like as I said, hides in a bunch of different places.
You want to just turn this into baked pasta?
Yeah.
Because this is not coming apart, Mom.
Yeah. Well, it's because we cooked it too early.
We did.
Note to self.
Make it later.
Yeah, don't, okay.
So you want me to we'll turn it into a baked ziti. It's fine.
Well, no, we can still layer it.
It's not coming apart, Mom. These are,
All right, but we're patching it.
there's patching and then there's what this is. This is,
Deirdre, did you see what I did here?
yes, I do. I see what you're doing. You're very impressive because my mother is inherently more impressive than I am.
Yeah, more patient is the word. Okay. Do the next layer. Fill while I play with the pasta part.
I reiterate again that she's a better person than I am.
Josephine would be doing this.
Josephine would be doing this, yeah, but she also,
She'd be whining about it, but she'd be doing it. Anyway. I will tell you, for anybody who has to be gluten-free, the taste and texture of these noodles is almost like real pasta.
Where's the fork? Yeah, I mean, it's a brand that I've had before in the pasta. We let it sit too long.
But we can get layers, so we don't have to crumble it like ziti. You can still mostly make layers. They're just not going to be as neat.
No, it will not be neat. This is not going to be as neat as the other one, people. It's all good.
Just remember your corners.
Remember to get into your corners, otherwise it won't work. As I go into the corner with the pasta and the cheese as it's moving. So the other thing is, when this, theoretically, the reason you can get away with patchworking is because when it bakes and the cheese solidifies, it will solidify the pasta as well. Correct, Mother?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing is I don't think I separated the sheets when they went in.
Oh, well.
As well. You know, you kind of you're used to stacking pasta.
Oh, yeah. Okay. As we start patchworking. Playing with puzzles. And this is the point where things overlapping is good, because you will have things to overlap. How we doing, everybody, as I sit here and do this? How's life going? Give me something out in the internet so that I can... There we go.
Just goes to show you cooking is imprecise.
Nope. And nothing is perfect.
But
it's still going to taste good.
You can fix it.
You can fix it.
You can make it work.
And realistically speaking, the biggest thing about cooking is not, and I guess for people who have some, there are some people out there who get very intimidated by cooking because they want it to be perfect every time. And it's never going to be perfect every time. Go get your... Sorry for making you hungry, Conti. Not really. But that's the thing, is like, it will never be perfect 100% of the time. And
you have to be prepared to improvise and pivot. Is that the right word?
Pivot. Pivot to fix, right? And like, no, make you hungry. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I will make you hungry.
At least we get to pick.
Yeah, we get to be pizza land about the whole thing. And at the end of the day, cooking is very forgiving. And like, we're all used to going out and seeing those Instagram photos, and everyone's like, oh my God, this is so worthy of putting on Instagram. And yeah, what you're seeing is the final product that ended up on the plate. Not what it looked like in the kitchen. There we go. Before anything got done.
Or the practice ones.
Or the 50 times you had to make it to get it to perfect. Sorry.
Note to self, clean the corners. That helps keep the pan semi-clean.
Yeah. But this is going to be And at the end of the day,
you should be taking pictures of these layers. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, we should not be taking pictures of these.
Oh, yeah, it's a work of art or something.
Well, it's a work of something, Mama.
There's a Italian saying, Sicilian saying, that se non è cotta è calda, which means if it's not cooked or perfect, it's at least hot.
Yeah.
So, you got a hot meal. What else did you want?
Yeah, it's not fancy, but it's still hot and filling. What do you care? You know?
And by the way, I know we have an international audience, but I'm here to tell you that chicken parmesan is not.
No.
It's not Italian. If you go to a really good Italian restaurant, it won't be on the menu. It's an Italian-American dish because we couldn't get veal. So, and it became popular in restaurants that couldn't get veal or couldn't afford veal.
And also, there are a bunch of... The other reason it became popular in restaurants is because you had a bunch of, waspy folks who were like, oh my God, the baby, who wouldn't eat it.
Yeah, won't eat veal because it's, baby cows. Well.
Yeah, but it's baby cows you weren't going to keep alive anyways.
Right.
They were just a drain on resources. Okay. Next layer. May I have you do this layer while I get some more water?
Certainly.
Would you like some water as I'm getting some?
I have some, thank you.
Okay. Gonna add some more
Anyway.
ginger to my water. But yeah, I mean, look, there are lots of things I really like that are even Italian-American. There are some things that I'm like, okay, I can live without, and I understand why they got changed. And then there are some things I'm like, you tried to pass a lasagna off as pizza because the bunch of wasps thought that was, would buy it and not a lasagna.
What are you talking about, deep dish pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got back from Chicago. For anybody who's never been to Chicago, there's a regional favorite called deep dish pizza. It's not where pizza. The crust is about 2 inches high. It's thick on the bottom, and it's got filling, and it's more like an Italian quiche.
Yeah, it's not
the
pizza.
Best. Certainly not what they call pizza in Italy, but that's okay. We have regional favorites. So,
Oh, you have a veggie day where your family has forest critters on the menu? I mean, so one of my favorite movies of all time is My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And there is a joke in that film called when she's bringing her boyfriend to a fiance. She's introducing her fiance to the rest of her large Greek family. And he's a vegetarian. And her aunt is like, oh, come over, we'll have dinner. And she turns to her aunt and says, oh, well, he doesn't eat meat. Doesn't eat any meat. What do you mean you don't eat no meat? He's a vegetarian. He don't eat meat. Don't eat meat. It's okay. I make lamb. Which, it took me years in actually studying Greek to really get that joke. Because in Greek, the word that is translated into English as meat specifically means beef or veal. And so lamb is not meat in Greek. Now, I'm sure that it was just, also making a joke about vegetarians, which is hilarious because Greeks and Sicilians and a lot of people in southern Italy are some of the original vegetarian dishes.
Right.
In Western Europe. Because of what was there and what you couldn't afford to do, right? Like, you can't afford to kill the cow until after it's stopped making cheese. Because, you'd only get the one.
Assuming you had a cow. Anyway, remember, Greece and Sicily are very hilly.
So you might have goats.
There isn't going to be a cow. It's going to be goats or sheep.
Lots of goats.
And vegetables and stuff you could grow yourself.
Yeah. Fish.
Right. Lots of fish. Because you're on the sea. It's there. It's easy.
Now I want to go back to Sicily, Mama.
Yeah.
Well, you and I both want to do that. Is that still the plan?
Possibly. It's TBD. Okay, how are we doing at filling the layer here?
We need here. We need some over here. Over there. And
Okay, so here's a question for you all. What is your favorite cuisine, regardless of where you're located? Since we've all become international and with immigration and food traveling all over the world, I'd love to know what people's favorite.
Ossobuco is based on a dish that's in and of itself from northern Italy, but the general concept was used in southern Italy as well. How much do you have left? Because this is layer number.
I have enough for one more layer.
Okay.
Then I don't know how much filling we have.
We have. Well, I think we've got a. That's what I'm saying. Is I think we've got a layer for cover layer.
Yeah, we have a layer for the top.
Okay. So ossobuco itself is not. You wouldn't necessarily see in Sicily because, again,
you're okay.
It's a beef dish.
It's more Roman.
It's more Roman in of itself, but the concept of how to cook meat like that, low, slow, and on the bone, with various veggies and things, that's a style of cooking that's A, almost international, and B, a very common peasant way of cooking.
Right, because again, we're talking using up everything you have, and if you don't have a lot of meat, then that's a good way to do it. In addition, ossobuco is where you take the
oxtail.
Now the veal and usually now or beef and slice the bone vertically so it's about 1 inch thick and there's a bone in the middle and there's wonderful marrow in the middle. My favorite way to cook that is to brown the meat and then stick it in a crock pot with wine and broth and herbs and let it do its thing.
Which is at its core really the traditional way of doing it because you would just do it in a Dutch oven versus a crock pot, but that just means that it's the...
Right, and you would, hang it on the stick, the hook over the fire.
In the kitchen fire, yeah.
You can also do veal or lamb shanks, which come out like ossobuco.
Yeah, and almost every country in the world has some dish that's like that, because again, a lot of peasant food is very much similar. It's what flavor profiles end up being used.
I will tell you that in the 70s, when pasta primavera became a thing.
Oh my God, we laugh.
My grandmother and I would just laugh because that's just pasta and vegetables, and it's what people ate all the time. If you want a really good comfort food dish, it's pasta shells. Cook the pasta shells, throw in some fresh peas or frozen peas in the last minute of cooking, drain them all, and throw a little marinara sauce on the top, and
pasta and peas.
Pasta pizzelle, and a little either grated parm or pecorino romano, and you have a
There's
really...
a Kelly yelling coming in.
Hello, Kelly!
Yeah, there's a mama here.
There's the mama here.
There's lasagna being made, Kelly. How are you doing, Kelly? She's just yelling at you. She's saying hi.
Hey. So the meat on sale is ossobuco. Is that the one that
Ice Bunny says they have meat on sale here and I have no clue how to cook it. Which one is it? If it's ossobuco, we can talk you through that. That's not hard. Just tell us which one you're looking at. There are lots of, and then that's the thing is there are lots of different ways to cook. Hold on as I switch cameras. There's lots of different ways to cook different meats that all kind of end up.
It's all about
Kelly. No, you are not carrying as much weight as you can up and downstairs, running marathons and all that stuff. No, don't even joke about that. We know where you live. I also know where Justin is.
Okay,
well, so maybe not right this second, but
back to Ice Bunny. The easiest way to do that, Ice Bunny, is
Dredge it in flour.
Dredge it in flour or cornstarch
if you're gluten-free.
Sometimes cornstarch gives, or actually better than cornstarch is if you have to be gluten-free, if you have an all-purpose flour like Bob's Red Mill or King Arthur.
Hashtag not sponsored, but we use them.
Right. Those are the two brands that we have found work successfully. Brown the meat in a little olive oil if you don't have a crock pot, in a deep Dutch oven. We only use olive oil. So that's my preferred cooking oil. And olive oils too have flavors. So, look for one that's good for sauteing. Some of them have a stronger olive flavor.
You don't want extra virgin olive oil to saute in. Extra virgin olive oil is to dip bread in and put on a salad. You don't.
Yeah. Then put the ossobuco in a deep pan. You're in Denmark, so do you know what a Dutch oven is?
Yeah, I mean we can.
It's a deep.
It's down.
It's like a sauce pot.
I took it downstairs.
It's like a sauce pot
with a top, and it's metal. Yeah.
Ours is cast iron,
which is what you really want.
I also have a Corningware dish that works like that. Okay.
It'll
move over.
The loud floofy baby is outside, Kelly, because she needed to go run around.
Yeah. Oh, we can just save this for whatever. Throw it on there. And then with the pot that can go in the oven, you want it to be about 3 inches deep.
Hey, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Kelly.
Yeah. And you put, after the ossobuco is browned, in the same pot, you can brown a little onion, a little garlic, then cover it with a liquid. Broth, wine, a mix of the two.
Something more than water.
Right, something more than water. Season to taste. Cover it and leave it in the oven for a couple of hours till it starts to fall off the bone.
On a low temperature.
Like 300, 350. I'm not sure what that converts to Celsius.
Like 150 or something? I don't know. I used to know. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
We will talk you through cooking, Kelly. Although I would like to point out that there are certain other people in your house that might say maybe no.
We can tell you how to open a can of soup.
No, that would be not coming. Look.
So are we expecting Kelly and Justin for dinner tonight?
No, I said I'd bring them leftovers.
Okay.
I said I would bring Kelly and PJ leftovers.
Okay.
Mom, do you want to do this part and I'll go?
Yeah,
I'm going to go check on the Bella because she sounds like she's about to, take over the neighborhood. It's fine.
We used to have a mailman that was scared to death of our dogs, and if they were out in the yard.
She heard us talking about her and came running to the door.
She heard Kelly. That's it. We know that. The mailman wouldn't. The mailbox is at the street, but he wouldn't deliver the mail if the dogs were out. We have a new mailman, thank goodness, who...
we should also preface this by saying that we have an invisible fence, so there was plenty of space and things that were happening.
Right. For anybody in Europe, if you don't have an invisible fence, what it means is the dog has a collar. There's a wire around the perimeter, and if the dog gets too close, it shoots off a sound in their ear, and if they get really close, they get zapped, and most of them, it doesn't hurt them, and once...
They run away from it. It's fine.
They run away. Ice bunny, it really is not complicated. The biggest thing is just.
I want to check. It looks like it.
Yeah, okay, it's back.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, ice bunny. It's really not complicated, and there are probably some recipes on the internet. If you can find one from Giada De Laurentiis, she has a really good ossobuco recipe. Again, not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored.
Okay, so we're getting some dropped frames, but not a lot. What the heck is going on, Twitch? Okay.
It's Saturday afternoon. Streams and football. What else is there? College football to eat up the internet.
That is unfortunately true. let's go dogs.
Yeah. Anyway.
Another layer of cheese.
You want to bring back the chat?
Yeah, give me a second. I'll bring back chat. Sorry, I had technical difficulties to fix. Sorry, Mom. I'll promise to clean it off later.
Yeah.
There you go. It is. And that's the thing about cooking is people, if you buy a cookbook, huh?
Okay.
You want more?
Yeah, because I can't get in the corners.
Okay. There you go. Now you can get in the corner.
Gotta get into the corners, Kelly.
Yeah, with the cheese at least. There's, what was I saying? Oh, the thing, Ice Bunny, is, I'm going to be honest. There are all these very fancy cookbooks by all these very fancy celebrity chefs that make all of these fancy, or attempt to make, fancy versions of what is basically peasant dishes. And from multiple cuisines, right? Like sushi, that everyone wants to spend like an obscene amount of money on these days, was the fish, where the fish was the fisherman's snack on the wharf in Tokyo. Or onigiri, what was the other one? There was the restaurant that was doing arancina.
Mm-hmm.
As not arancina.
Whatever.
Arancina is the drink.
No, arancina is the rice balls.
Yeah, arancina. See, the rice balls as fancy high hors d'oeuvre, and I'm like, this is literally designed to use leftover polenta, leftover risotto.
And what is interesting is that Jacques Pepin is probably one of the most famous chefs. It's sort of come around. He has said that the true mark. Yeah, onigiri. Yeah, that's what she was talking about. Ice Bunny.
No, I was talking about arancina.
Arancina rice balls.
Italian rice balls.
But one of the things that Jacques Pepin has come around to is he said, the true mark of how good a cook you are is how well you can do the basics, like roast a chicken, make an omelet. And really, more people are, most of the time, happier with a roast chicken dinner with veggies. And roast veggies.
And you can add in different flavor profiles and different things. And at the end of the day, if you can't, what is it? If you watched many years ago, there was the Throwdown with Bobby Flay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby Flay, who was a celebrity chef, would show up at these random people's local restaurants and, do their signature dish, one-on-one, and there'd be, a judging and people would do whatever and choose whatever. Like, fine. But he went to Louisiana and they were doing gumbo. They were going to do gumbo. And Bobby Flay, major celebrity chef, has been a staple of the Food Network for 30 years now, almost.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the Food Network has been on there. And he burned the rice to make gumbo. He also did a lot of weird stuff to that gumbo.
Right.
Because he thought it'd be fancy. But he burned the rice, and that is the most important step.
And you want to cover up?
Yeah, I gotta put some parsley on though.
Oh, okay.
A little parsley on top, and then I gotta cover it.
Where are you hiding this Sharpie?
It's in my pocket.
Okay.
You can has it.
Well, you're gonna.
Well, I'm gonna write on it. Mama? Can you put this away since you're standing right there?
Sure.
Thank you. And at the end of the day, if you can't, see, Conti, I would trust you to make jambalaya and gumbo, because I guarantee that you would not. Alright, it doesn't need to be perfect, we'll fix it later. Look, and then this. Alright, I'm going to take this downstairs. Why don't we, alright everybody.
Let me take 5.
we're going to take another commercial break. We're going to build in a commercial break because we're going to get set up to do the next step, which is, are we going to share the surprise, or are we just going to let people guess when we come back?
We'll let them guess.
We'll let people guess. So, we're going to go on a break. We'll be right back. We'll go ahead and put your guesses for the next dish that Mom and I are going to be fixing in the chat. And we'll see you in a few minutes, everybody. Goodbye.
We can say
Hello everyone, welcome back. We are interesting discussion going on. Chat thought we were going to make dessert, Mom.
Oh, sorry about that. Next time.
Next time. We're not making dessert today. Instead, we're going to make the other thing that goes really, really well. And why we do not make meat lasagna.
Yep.
We're going to make meatballs.
Like stuff better on the side.
Meatballs are better.
And sausage, but Dee doesn't eat sausage.
I do not eat sausage. I helped Grandma make sausage. I do not eat sausage. Now, full disclosure, we are using lamb to make these meatballs so I can eat them. Because I can't eat beef or pork. And so...
And some people, when they make meatballs, use a mixture of veal, pork, and beef.
And some people just use beef, and some people just use pork, or pork and beef.
Okay, so again, we're starting with old Sicilian family recipe. And we've used up one of the containers of pecorino, so I'm going to use that to make my breadcrumb mixture. Some people just throw plain breadcrumbs or seasoned breadcrumbs in their meatballs. That's not what my relatives did, so that's not what I do.
That's not what we do at all.
Okay, so we're going to start with 3 parts of breadcrumbs, which is I need to end up with you're the math genius.
3 parts of breadcrumbs to 1 part.
Okay, so 1 and a half.
Wait. 3 parts breadcrumbs to 1. No, it's quarters, Mom. It's just all quarters.
Now,
So-
what I need to end up with 2 cups is, so 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs. Trust me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you want to use, I'm saying,
Yeah.
use
You
quarter
can-
cups to measure it because it's, so you want 2 cups of this. You want to do this in,
Yeah, but I want to end up with 1 cup. Everybody's got a different technique. And
Yeah, I know.
1/2 of breadcrumbs. Trust me.
I understand, but okay, so we are doubling this and doing the whole thing, even though we are only using 1 pound.
Right, we're saving.
Okay, that was the confusion here because I'm like, you're having we're supposed to be having everything. No, we're actually doing this.
The breadcrumb mixture can keep in the fridge. We haven't made it in a while, so that's why we're going as the recipe starts with 2 pounds of ground beef. I have 1 pound of lamb. So we're going to make the breadcrumb mixture as if we were using 2 pounds of ground beef, and whatever's left.
We'll go in the
we'll
fridge
just
until the next
hang
time
on
we make
we make meatballs.
See, meatballs are good. I also have used this this recipe for making brajol.
Mm-hmm.
Because that works.
Right.
So, breadcrumbs, and then actually we should do this
Okay.
so we can see.
Yep.
So breadcrumbs and then
Okay, then 1/2 cup of cheese.
Again, we're using pecorino. You could use Parmigiano Reggiano. We like pecorino. I'm not going to... Oh, well, no, it's GF. That's okay.
Right. Because everybody's going to be having the meatballs, we're trying to be careful about being gluten-free.
Yep. So the meatballs are gluten-free and they're a meat that I can eat. So yay!
So 2 food allergies covered. Okay. 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs.
1/2 cup of...
1/2 cup of cheese. Mix well.
Yeah, and take the time to use... Do we have an extra fork over here?
And then you need a clean fork.
I got a clean fork right here.
Okay.
Now this is a step that seems irregular, but you want to take the time to break up the cheese lumps.
Right.
As you can, because it will spread better. So you just want to take the back of a fork, right like this, and spread it against the side of the pan so you break up those lumps, and it more evenly mixes the flavor. Is she coming over?
She'll be here when she gets here.
Okay, well, whatever.
Okay.
That's my sister, by the way. We were asking if she was coming over. So, parsley. Ideally, you should measure this, but we're going to use basically use...
That's good.
That's good.
Because we need some more for the meat.
We need a little for the meat. And then I like to add a little garlic to this. Well, again,
Even though we're going to add garlic to the meat.
because you can never have too much.
There you go. And then a little salt and pepper in there. I don't always put salt in everything because the cheese is pretty salty.
I don't usually put salt in this. I just put a little pepper. Because the cheese is going to have the extra salt.
Right.
The dog is firmly in the let me help you clean up phase.
No, let me help you cook. Yeah.
No. Let me help you clean up because I'm just going to lick your floor and because you dropped all that and therefore it is hers, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
So put it all in here. I'm putting it all in the empty cheese container for now. Partly because it's easier to measure out of, but partly
Because it's got a lid, we'll sit in there and we don't have to worry about cleaning out the cheese thing to recycle because wait.
Well, even better
There's this step.
because you stirred it, but I find that this is the best way to mix it.
Yep.
Okay. Now, we've got the meat.
Out of the way.
We're gonna
yourself back over here.
Okay. You're the production assistant, darling.
I am production. What assistant?
Okay. So step one, break up the meat. Yes, you could do this with a fork,
you
but
don't want to.
but I like the control you get better when you do it with your fingers. That's
And at the
just
end of
me.
the day, you're
Right.
going to get it all over your hands anyways.
Okay, and since you have the clean hands, you can measure a cup of breadcrumb mixture.
And I like to do this in
Right.
halves
Right.
because I'm going to get the eggs in the water.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And sometimes you end up with too much. Sometimes you. Okay.
We'll make it work. It'll work out.
Yeah, it's great. They're going to be crispy. Okay. Let's go with 2 large eggs. Now remember, lamb is going to be drier than ground beef, less fat.
So maybe an extra egg?
Well, let's see what happens with 2.
Because I've always run into the fact that you might need an extra egg. Even when I do beef, it's like,
Yeah, it
were
depends.
eggs bigger when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, I also only bought large eggs here, and I think the recipes usually they expected jumbo. And you also bought them at the chicken market, so
There you go.
okay. All right.
Now the messy bit.
The messy bit. You can break up the eggs with a fork. My mother, God rest her soul, hated getting her hands dirty. So she would do all this with a fork, and my father and I would sort of laugh at her. Because I think that one egg was one too many, but it's
Yeah,
right.
it'll work out.
Yeah, okay.
It'll
Now,
absorb up all the breadcrumb mixture.
okay, now, Dee,
Yeah.
since you have dry hands, I'm going to ask you to throw all the seasonings in.
Yep, I got
Okay. So I want to just
you. Garlic.
garlic. Go ahead.
Yeah, Bella was just in the frame with please drop more. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's not enough garlic.
I was going to do more on the second round, but sure. There's never...
That's good. That bust.
See.
Okay, now some black pepper. Okay. And now that same big Pyrex thing with some water in it, please.
This is the important step that a lot of people forget. And I'm going to prep you a tray, too.
Yeah.
Hold, please.
And when you're making your meatballs, some people broil them, some people bake them.
Some people fry them.
I've done them all bunch of different ways, and really the best way that I find is still the old-fashioned way in a cast iron. No, put some water in
I
there.
am. I'm just setting it down.
Okay, thank you. The best way is still the old-fashioned way, which is in a little olive oil in a cast iron pan. And the hardest part about cooking meatballs or frying anything, especially in a cast iron pan, is patience. Okay, seasoning tastes good. No, but with the subby, a little bit of salt.
Yeah, okay. That's what I heard. I heard you. I heard you.
Sorry, I hear the voice of my grandmother in my head.
It's okay. She belongs in your head. She's okay. I was just saying,
Right.
I'm getting there.
Smidgy bit. That's good, thank you. Okay. So I also have the same cast iron frying pans that my grandmother
As
had.
we talked about last time. This
Okay.
one. With the new silicone handle. The silicone handle is relatively new, but the cast iron skillet.
Right.
Do you want this one or do you want the other one?
Yeah, that one's fine, but I need a plate first.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
Yep.
taking advantage of the fact that it's there, and I'm going to move stuff away.
Everybody knows, right? You know that the pan and the oil are ready when you can smell the olive oil. You can see it start to bubble.
Yeah, and you don't want to go too far, otherwise it'll burn. And you don't want that because olive oil has a very low flash point and you light your house on fire.
And it also changes the taste.
That too, but you know, we want to be concerned about people's safety at this point. You know, safety is important, right, Mom?
Yep.
All right, you want a dish or you want a tray?
Yeah.
We got a little tray. We'll get a little tray.
Get a little tray and you have that clean parchment paper right there.
Yep. Parchment paper, that was my thought. Right on the tray. There you go.
Okay. So step one is when you look at the meat and you try it out and you say, you know, is it too firm? Is it too soft? What's the consistency? So you might want to put a little water in. Do you just pour just a smidge in here? So that the mixing consistency, because the breadcrumbs are going to...
The breadcrumbs are going to absorb a
Okay,
lot.
it's good.
And
Okay.
the other trick is...
Wait, we're not there yet.
Okay, we're not there yet. I'm sorry.
Okay. So now we've got it at a good consistency that we're happy with. So now the secret when you're making the meatballs is to dip your hands in the water and now make the balls. Is that the secret you were...
Yes, I was about to say that. And, you know, we make meatballs a certain size. Some people say they're too big.
Well, meatballs are supposed to, you know,
Yeah, see, that's the other thing is
be a meal.
yeah, you didn't. This thing about having meatballs as a side dish is a very American thing, Italian-American thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, Ice Bunny. How do you fry with water? That's fascinating. Do you just use that as the liquid in the pan? I mean, one of the things, if you use a non-stick pan, and ideally if you've seasoned your,
I mean, isn't that technically just...
I don't know, I'm just fascinated. But if you've seasoned your cast iron pans correctly, they do become
Isn't
non-stick, but, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that isn't technically frying with water, isn't that just poaching?
That's what I would think, but anyway. You can space the meatballs out. I'm putting them on the, this is another, you can also chill these a little before you cook them if you want.
We're going to fry them right away.
We're going to fry them right away.
And then that way, the other advantage that does is if you fry them right away and then put them in like a glass thing, when you reheat them later, they're not greasy.
Right. I also, when I make meatballs to go with pasta, or in this case it's going to be lasagna, I heat them up in the oven after they're fried. Ideally, you fry them and you sit down at the table and they're crisp and delicious and fresh and all kinds of good things.
Or you get the first one that came out of the fryer and you add just a little bit of salt to it because...
Yeah, because everybody's got a taste.
Exactly. And you're lucky you get the first one.
But to reheat them, I don't put them in the spaghetti sauce. I think that makes them mushy. I'd
also
rather...
makes the sauce greasy.
Yeah, that too. But I'd rather just heat them up. And you can heat them up in an oven low and slow. Thank you, Ice Bunny. I'll have to try that. Does it matter what kind of things you're frying, Ice Bunny, or does that technique work for everything? Excuse me while I go wash my hands here, guys.
Yeah, we're just gonna move this out of the way so we can slide this into frame. And then you can all see that. There you go, look at those. Those are not small meatballs, but they're decent size. Also, there's a Bella. Hi, Bella. See, Kelly, Belly's here. She doesn't want to be on camera anymore, but she's here. So now what we're gonna do is I'm going to take these and stick them in the fridge. You want to pet the Bella? Well, she would love to have you pet her. So I'm gonna stick these in the fridge while we get the pan hot. Because that's the other trick, is if you chill them just a little bit before you put them in the what you're gonna fry, then it will.
They won't fall apart.
They won't fall apart as you go. So this is a very simple step, but a very helpful one, right?
Right.
You know, and sometimes it's a little. It's just like when you make pie, right? And you make pie, and every time, you know, each pause in the step as you're making a pie and you're making pie dough, you put it back in the fridge to chill it because you want it to stay, right? Keep those flavors working, keep everything going. Okay, I'm just gonna put these away while we're talking. Oh, look, more cheese. Cheese is good, right, Mama?
Yep, cheese is good.
Cheese is good.
Unless you have cholesterol issues, cheese is good.
Yeah, well, look, you can get cheeses that are
all things in moderation.
all things in moderation.
As
There
they
we go.
say.
All things in moderation. I'm gonna get your fancy dandy doodad thingy. Maybe. Maybe it's under here.
This thing?
Oh, that's not underneath the thing. Okay.
Dad doesn't put it back in the right place. So what else is now? Okay. Under the heading of things I've inherited.
And yeah, this.
Okay. The top is under there.
Yeah.
Grab the top, please.
We're gonna need
So
the
we
top.
can, well, we might. But anyway, it's a splatter shield. It's older than dirt.
It doesn't quite fit because
It has a top to really make it a splatter shield. Top never really fits, but it does kind of help keep the oil from going all over your.
well, it's also like we use it on big pans. Like I'm sure if it was because that's an 8-inch. Like if you put
This
it on
is a
like
10.
Because it's marked with an 8.
I think it's 10. But anyway, whatever.
Whatever. Speaking of, hashtag not sponsored, but hey, Lodge, I'll take your money. Oh, you only use it. You only cook chicken that way after a day of a full fat day. Yeah. Yeah, we're sorry we're dropping some frames here, guys. It seems Twitch is being twitchy again. Yeah. Getting fancy with the olive oil, Mama?
Yeah, just trying to decide which.
Do you want to just use the canola, or
No.
you're going to use the actual olive oil?
Yeah.
There we go. Of course we are.
But just a smidge, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan.
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold on. Okay,
Frozen?
we're back. Okay, we're back. Hello, welcome in. Thank you for that. All right, we're back. Yeah, Twitch is being twitchy. I'm sorry, everybody.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint people that it's not dessert, but we'll do another session that's just dessert. How's that?
We'll do desserts later. Desserts are great. You don't want a lot of oil in this pan, just a little bit to coat the thing.
But because
Oh,
it's,
Belgique. Bonjour, Angelique.
for beef, I would barely use any, but because this is lamb that we're working with, you need a little bit more oil than, let me have a paper towel, please. I'm using a little bit more than I normally would.
A 40 gram of fat a day in the, oh, okay, I see. They put you on a
Low-fat diet.
low fat diet, yeah.
And as we all know, all fats are not created equal.
No, not all fats. Not all fats are the same. They don't cook the same. They don't.
Right. And there are healthy fats. You know, like one of my personal addictions is avocados. They're high fat, but they're good fat.
Mm-hmm.
Walnuts. By the way, just to ruin anybody's day who's on a diet, alcohol counts as fat calories. So every ounce of alcohol is like having an ounce of olive oil. It's 120 calories. Just to ruin everybody's day. However, Prosecco, my favorite, only has 88 calories an ounce. So there you go.
By the way, that. So.
Okay, so now we're going to heat up the pan, heat up the olive oil. What? What's that?
I was just trying. No. I was trying to see if I could adjust things to get more camera on you. There we go. I can.
Okay. Let me get utensils.
Tongs.
No.
Tongs for your friends.
No.
No.
No. Mama doesn't like the tongs.
Mom doesn't like the tongs. I like the tongs. I think the tongs are easy. Mom doesn't. Mom likes spoon.
An old-fashioned fork and spoon. I'm going to need to refill the cruet, but
Almost. Enough for me to take the meatballs out of the fridge because it would be very hard to make meatballs without them still inside the fridge. Right, Mom?
Yep.
All right, and then I'm gonna. Which side do you want, Mom?
Right there, and
then I will get a plate, set it up with paper towel, which is the other step. As we get this assembly line going, how are we doing, Noel? Crit says, "Oh, I lost my mimosa emote to holiday emotes." Yes, all the things Crit hears that pulls away from work. Well, welcome back, Crit. Sorry to be your.
Yeah, alcohol stops the fat metabolism, and the pizza and burgers go straight to the. Absolutely.
Oui, Angélique. C'est une. Ma mère et moi fait le dîner pour aujourd'hui en avant. And so we made lasagna earlier, and now we're making the meatballs to go with the lasagna. There we go. That sounds right.
Yep.
And,
Okay, now some people would just take a spoon and plop them in.
Don't just plop them in.
You got, like I said, back to the hands. You want, because they've been sitting, so one end gets a little flat.
Yeah, and you want to place them in. Because you just drop them, then you're going to get oil splattered everywhere. Even though we have the splatter shield,
it's going to splatter on you.
You don't want to get hot oil on you. Well,
Okay.
not that kind of hot oil anyway. And don't overcrowd the pan.
Remember what we said, the biggest thing for both the lasagna and the meatballs is patience.
Okay, Mom, I'm going to try and do this.
Okay.
Ooh, I can indeed get a little bit of a focus shot. I'm getting fancy here.
Ready.
Can you angle that screen a little bit? There we go. Yeah. So you don't want to overcrowd the pan.
And remember the other secret, I've got to rinse my hands here, D, when it does this thing. Don't try to fry the meat up too soon. You need to watch it. You'll see when the bottom of the meatball starts to get brown. Will be when it's time to.
I'm almost sorry you can't smell this. Right, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
We are into full-on smell-o-vision at this point. It's great.
And like I said, I love the cast iron pan, and I use a gas stove. Cast iron's great, but it doesn't, and I've used it on an electric stove, doesn't work as well.
It doesn't, but it will still be better. I can make it work, but yeah, Mom's correct. You want a gas stove. Yeah. Take your time, take your patience, don't rush it. You almost supposed to be able to smell when it's ready. That smells good, Mom. Thank you.
Sure.
Chris says, I'm so glad we don't have smell-o-vision. I haven't eaten it. Chris, go get something to eat. Coffee is not eating. I don't know where you are, but it's 3 p.m. Eastern. Do not, go get yourself something to eat. Have food. I mean, for us, we've been pizza land all day. Plus, we had breakfast. We did have breakfast. Ooh, that smells really good.
Okay, then when you go to turn them, remember you're not just going to use top and bottom. You're going to try to get all the way around it. So when it is ready to come up, I like to use a spoon because that helps me keep the round shape. Can you see how the brown? See, can you get close?
Yeah, it's getting there. Hold on, I gotta. Yeah, there we go. That nice brown on there. Use the spoon to keep the shape. Rolling it, and you'll notice that Mom's more rolling it against the side of the pan. And some of them are going to come quicker than others. It's just the way the pan is. And you want to know the real weird thing? It will never be, ideally it'll be in the order that you put them in the pan. But that doesn't always happen.
Well, some of it has to do with the size of the meatballs, how the burner heated up the pan.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pan in the milk. That was the last one in there.
And you're going to have to play with it, play with the temperature, play with the heat, play with the oil. Nothing is ever perfect. And nothing will remain the same from round 1 to round 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are not going to talk about the number of years my mother and I have made meatballs together.
By the way, if you have toddlers, it's a great way to get toddlers to start cooking.
Yes.
Because they love to squish the meatballs.
Yep. Meatballs and chocolate chip cookies. That will get kids into cooking.
And pizza.
And pizza. Because you get to pound things and squish things. And it feels good in your hands.
Well, even if you start with pre-made dough and you just let them help you sprinkle the...
Yeah.
Somebody I know used to sit on the kitchen counter and throw mozzarella on the pizza crust.
Also, is really good at helping teach little kids precision, because you can say, well, you need a little bit more here and a little bit more here and a little bit more here.
Okay, the camera, please.
Camera is coming. Here it comes.
Like I said, you can't just do the top and the bottom.
You gotta stand them on the sides.
And you'll know they're ready because, I don't know how close you can get, but you can see how brown the sides are getting on the meatball.
I can get right about, here, Mom.
Okay.
I'm getting real fancy and professional.
Well, that's good. Now you see how this one in the corner is getting a little crispier because it's smaller. It also has to do with the way the pan is sitting on the flame. And don't be afraid to kind of lean them up against the side of the pan. It's kind of what it's there for.
My friend says I wanted an induction stove until I was informed how much I would extra have to pay to change the fuse box. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, induction, from my experience, induction has always been really only best in saute pan dishes, not if you want to deep fry something, and really not if you need sustained long periods of heat. Right? Like, people talk about an induction cooktop, it brings the water to boil really quickly. Yeah, but it doesn't really, and it will make pasta in 8 minutes. Fine. But I can't control a long period of cooking on a Dutch oven, you know, if I want a stew or a soup or something like that.
The other thing I will say, because usually, rewind, if you're cooking them for now, you want to really make sure that the beef is done, you know, that the meat is cooked all the way through. But they will cook a little while they stand, like everything else. If you're going to freeze them and use them later, it's okay if they're a little undercooked, because you're going to reheat them. And they're not gonna be pink.
Yeah.
Okay, see, we got this one, which is now
wait.
almost round on all sides.
Which one?
Well, I'm just getting, you know, more around more sides. Now you notice I haven't put the other ones in yet because I want to be able to really pay attention to what I've got here. And as I start to take these out of the pan, then I'll put the next batch in.
And you might decide you need more oil at this point. In which case, you want to take the time to reheat. Yeah, Crit, it is a very useful splatter shield.
Works great. Because you can still work around it. I have another one that you just sort of sit on top of the pan. That's useless.
And that only really works if you're like sitting something in it, and then. But even then, it's never really deep enough, and everything that I would do in it would brush the top of the splatter shield. Yeah, I think it is.
No, it's with the
Oh, did it go downstairs?
no, it's under there. But anyway,
We're not gonna worry about it.
nope. Okay.
One of those looks like it broke. Oh no, it's just the fat leaking.
I was like, nope, it didn't.
But then I was gonna say it might be mine if it broke.
By the way, there are, you know, under the heading of childhood memories, we used to meet family in church, and then we would go to one family's house for breakfast on Sunday morning, and there were always meatballs and sauce on the stove. In the days when we weren't quite so worried about fire, low and slow, on the gas stove. So my idea of breakfast, if it's not cappuccino and cannoli, my idea of breakfast is meatballs and fresh Italian bread and fresh sauce. Okay. It doesn't want to stand up. Okay. We're almost ready.
I think that one's good.
Okay.
You need the plate. I'll bring the plate. Look. There's the plate.
The other thing is you want to be careful not to overcook these, so you want to control the temperature so it's not, you want to heat up the pan, but then you want to make sure you lower the temperature so they don't burn or get extra crispy on the outside and don't cook on the inside.
That's the way we can do it for next time.
What?
I was just thinking through different things. I was thinking of how we can get pretzel to work. And now we have, of course, this shot of the beautiful meatballs. Oh, look at them. Look at them. And now you let them sit and cool. Maybe.
Yeah, you don't want to burn your mouth on.
You don't want to burn your mouth on them. But.
And I will say, silicone handle, as I said, because they're lamb, I'm using a little extra oil. So when I want to spread stuff around the pan, I'm using the silicone handle.
But Mama.
You can open one.
I know. I'm picking the smallest.
Which
is the rule. That is the rule. That is a very old rule in our house.
You either pick the smallest one or the one that broke.
The one that broke or the one that's the smallest, and you would get to eat. That is the first thing. Trying to get it on the camera correctly. There it is. All right, there's the shot. We might do a cooking show up. We might do an episode dedicated to Italian. What about an episode dedicated to Italian pastries, Mom?
That works.
So you let them cool, and then you cut it in half.
And cooling is the one step she didn't really do.
I did. I let it cool, and then I'm cutting it in half. And if it's, here's the other thing. We're using ground lamb, so it being a little rarer is not a problem. Oh, but that's going to taste so good. And you can see
Were you gonna comment?
No,
I can't see. I can't read the chat from here, so I want to make sure
Oh,
we're not
no.
ignoring people.
I'm not ignoring chat. I'm reading chat. Ice Bunny was the one that recommended doing a pastries. And pastries are a lot of work.
So we might just do desserts generally.
Might just do desserts generally. I mean, I have here, Mama. And oh look, we have leftover sauce from making lasagna. No worries, Ice Bunny. Recommendations we will take. Would you like?
Yeah, I'll get there in a minute.
Okay.
I want to pay attention over here.
Mommy's being professional. Yeah. Mama's professional. I'm being like, there's meatball. And I have not had, Mom. Sorry.
That's okay.
I have not had a meatball in 7 years.
Because chicken and turkey just don't make it.
Chicken and turkey do not make it. It's the wrong texture. It's the wrong flavor. Like I can do okay with, I do chicken burgers, but I usually also add things to make them more flavorful. And then it's just like a ground chicken patty that you're doing things like
Hatch chili goat cheese.
Yeah, hatch green chili goat cheese on a Southwest burger. Southwest chicken burger. That turns out really good. And I can do ground chicken in tacos because tacos you can do multiple meats in. But chicken and ground chicken doesn't cook right in meatballs. And it doesn't taste good. But now that I let it cool, look, there are just going to be things that go straight into my face.
Taste okay?
Yeah.
Cut it in half some.
Mom, you know how like when we were talking about people who mix veal and beef? And you know that texture you get from meatballs that they have that on? That's that texture. It's a little... I'm honestly sorry you can't have this. Do you want this other half, Mommy? No, you can have it. It's yours. I'm leaving it for Mom. I'm being good. We're going to have more later. It'll be fine. That's really good, Mom.
The other thing is the ground lamb we bought this time
Yeah.
was in a vacuum pack.
Yeah, so it condensed it.
So
less liquid.
Less liquid and the texture, because sometimes, you know how ground beef has
Yeah.
a particular texture when it goes to the grinder or the
It depends on the grind that you're putting with it, yeah.
Kelly, this one's in honor of you if you're still here.
Look, Ice Bunny, we will never judge anybody for what they choose to eat for breakfast. And there may have been times in my life where breakfast was leftovers,
Cold pizza,
leftover pasta multiple times.
Listen, I made my mother crazy going through high school. She thought, everybody should have like toast and an egg and real food. I had juice, tea, and chocolate chip cookies. As I said, cappuccino and cannoli works for me. Just not a breakfast person.
No.
Unless it's 10 o'clock and then it's brunch.
Then it's brunch, but brunch is different. By that point, you've been up for a while, you're doing okay, it's fine.
Or on your way to work, you stop at your favorite food truck and get an egg and cheese on a roll.
Bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll. With hot sauce.
With or without the bacon.
But then it's not a bacon, egg, and cheese.
I know, I like just the egg and cheese though.
Okay, fine. Or
But
a bagel
from
from
your
here.
favorite food truck.
Yep. Time says picks up meatball for better camera shot, returns meatball to bowl, iron discipline. Look, I want credit for not eating this entire plate that is sitting right here of meatballs. But that's okay, my sister is coming to dinner and we'll be having, there'll be lasagna and meatballs. I will be in a very happy place later today, which will be great because, you know, I may or may, you know, my players are going to have interesting things to do.
Right, I don't want to make this too loud.
You have to turn up the vent because you need to make sure that the vent is running. Another thing that's about safety and not so much about, you know, where was I? Oh, so when I was living in Atlanta, I was teaching high school, and the high school had a, like, it was, the school I was teaching at was a private school. It was a K through 12. And it had a full industrial kitchen. And would get permission like a couple times a year to cook in the industrial kitchen for my students.
Latin banquets.
No, I would do most of those in the room with a crock pot and a roasting, electric roaster. But no, it would be like after dinner, you know, I would do a team nights for the fencing team, cook dinner, and I would do one for the fencing team and I would do one for my Latin seniors. Be like, you're graduating, you need to learn how to cook an actual dish that's not gonna burn the dorm down. And so we're in the kitchen and it's an industrial kitchen, and they're like, this particular student was like, okay, I think we're ready to start. And I'm like, you skipped a step. They go, oh, what's that? I'm like, I reach over and hit the button to turn on the vent hood. They're like, well, why is that important? I'm like, well, number one, you're frying and you don't want to get any splatter anywhere. And I don't want to light this entire industrial kitchen on fire.
Well, you also want to get the smoke or steam
out. You want to do all that stuff.
Vent out.
I will hold the pan, and then after you put them on the plate, I will clean the cast iron skillet. Bella is now lying on the floor, judging us as we work.
She's snoozing. All right. She's getting
Never mind,
bored.
she's asleep. She's asleep.
She knows.
She knows she's not getting this.
Does everybody have the same kind of dog that they're sound asleep till you open the refrigerator door? Especially when they're old and deaf. There you go.
That's all of them? Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, so so now we've got meatballs, we've got lasagna, and I think that is where we're going to end for tonight. I mean, like, if you are desperate and are really, really broke, I knew some people in the military that were extremely poor and had to suffer through pasta with ketchup.
No. Please, because
Cans of tomato sauce are actually cheaper than ketchup, but
right, and less crap.
And less crap, but I know some people who had to do it. It's okay. I helped them get over it. But yeah, so that's going to be dinner for us tonight. Lasagna and meatballs. Thank you, Mom, for being here.
I'm just going to tell people, remember we said making spaghetti sauce isn't hard and doesn't take long? So if I'm not using fancy sauce, I just, it's a weeknight meal. I take a 28-ounce can of puree, a 4-ounce can of tomato paste. Mix the two, throw in some wine, throw in some seasonings, shove them in the microwave. 10 minutes on high, 10 minutes on 50%. In the meantime, you're boiling the water, cooking the pasta. By the time the pasta's done, the sauce is done. And it doesn't have artificial ingredients in it.
Nope.
So
and
anyway,
that's us.
Yep. You're welcome. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
We hope you enjoyed it. Do you want people to follow you on the internet?
They can. I'm on Twitter. I do write a whole lot about insurance, more than cool stuff. But yes, you certainly may.
So you can go follow Mama on Twitter. I'm going to, if you saw the Go Live tweet, you can. As for me, hey all, you know me. I'm at Deirdre Donlin on Twitter, or Prax As you see me around here on Twitch, your friendly neighborhood Prax. And I will be back in about 5 hours, as we are going to have a Song of Agapia's Fortune, our high-level D&D campaign that we run. Things are getting interesting there. Then Sunday, we'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern for Witcher Roads Home, and what has become the Lord Math experience. There is no other words for that. But we are, and we'll probably do another one of these. We'll figure it out. It's about timing and schedule. And now that we've figured out the technology and how that works, we're doing pretty good. We'll probably do another one of these.
And if anybody has requests for specific foods, let us know.
Yeah,
so we got the dessert part down.
Yeah, we'll do dessert. And if you want to help support the stream, there are multiple ways you can do that. There's I have a Ko-Fi. You can check that out directly. There's also a panel underneath with the link to that. There's also I write games and sell and do all of that stuff, and you can find my games I write over there on Itch. They're great. I think so. Other people have also said so. But take your time, check them out, let me know what you think. And if you happen to have played any of the games that I run or have written, leave me a comment, leave me a review. I read all that stuff. And if you want to catch up on, if you came over on the raid, I really appreciate you. Thank you for hanging. I can remember my own commands here. I can type too. If you want to check out any of the VODs of what we do, you can check them all out. They're all over on YouTube. Makes it easy. They're all in nice, neat playlists for you. But we should share some love because we got raided. We should raid someone else. We should see who's up. Who is up? Oh, Simon is up, and they're playing Scion. We should go raid them and send them some love. And we'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.